Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Mark Murphy, and I'm joined by Mr. Sam Crow. And Sam, we're back for more Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series action tonight. 300 miles from the Palace in Dallas. It is the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, actually. I call it the Palace in Dallas, but it's in Fort Worth.
They can share an airport. They can share a speedway.
That's right, my man. It is one of the crown jewels in the SMI. One of the jewels in the SMI crown. This is also one of the most unique tracks in all of the United States, despite its standard appearance. And we're getting ready to have 200 laps of high-quality American Motorsports Association action. And Sam, kind of talk us through Texas and what this track is like to race.
Well, there's always the term that's used in NASCAR about cookie cutters, and Texas fell into that same rut that NASCAR was doing when they were, the tracks like Charlotte, and then of course Chicago came and Kansas came and Kentucky configuration. They all fall in this mile-and-a-half type cookie cutter, and this was supposed to be the sister track to Charlotte, but the minds that be decided that they wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit, and they wanted to change the logistics of the track, and so they went into turns 1 and 2 and widened it and took out a lot of the banking, and they just really changed how to drive this particular racetrack. You can say it's a cookie cutter, but it has the characteristics of several other tracks as well. As you and I were discussing before the broadcast tonight, IRL. It is a playground for you guys going into turn 1. You have so many options. NASCAR drivers have a tendency to think that there's only 1 or 2 lanes that they can run, but nonetheless, it can be very racy once this granular surface begins to wear the tires down. We've already had that come into play at Rockingham, and you can very well see it play here in Texas as well. It's going to take the drivers some skill and some time to maneuver on cold tires. The car is going to be extremely loose under those conditions. 1 and 2 is going to be tricky. 3 and 4 will be a little bit more of a throttle control situation for the drivers. And the key, really, as it is with a lot of these tracks where there's a lot of sun beating down on the asphalt, save tire.
That's exactly right, Sam. One of the things that you mentioned the many configurations of Texas. This is the 3rd iteration of this track. It was originally designed with dual banking, designed for the outset for Indy cars, and when stock cars came here for the first time, it was a mess. If you remember, Sam, they had at one point they had masons out with concrete saws drilling holes in the banking because the water table had risen so much that
so they could weep the track.
There was moisture leaking out from underneath the surface. They drilled a hole in the track, and literally geysers were shooting out from these holes with water. They finally got the race underway, but in its original form, Texas had 24 degrees of banking on the top and 8 degrees on the bottom to accommodate both Indianapolis and NASCAR Winston Cup cars at the time. That very quickly went away, and just the 24 degrees of banking was installed. And then they tore it up, redid it. Current configuration has been around since, 2017, I believe, was when they did this configuration. And you are right. It is, as an oval, one of the most awesome tracks that you can run in an open wheel car. NASCAR kind of got impatient, I think, Sam. They put down a bunch of PJ1 on the real surface. Thankfully, in iRacing, the track was scanned before it got coated with PJ1. And so,
right. And they could code the track based on banking, tire grip, and things like that without the PJ1 factor included into the coding.
Yeah, so we don't have the nasty grip stuff on the Speedway here in iRacing. Unfortunately,
artificial grip.
Yeah, but they do have it, unfortunately, in real life, and so it makes the track very slick on the top for the open wheel cars, so they cannot use turns 1 and 2 as it was designed. And as a bonus, The stock cars can't really use it either, and so it's there's talk that they're going to turn this into another Atlanta style track. Please don't just somehow get the goop off of it so that it can be used as intended. Originally, a couple of other interesting bits of trivia about this place, Sam. When it opened, this track was the second largest speedway in the United States, next to Indianapolis. At one point, it had almost 200,000 seats. They've taken a lot of them out. But
as far as seating capacity goes.
Oh yeah, if you look back at
right.
If you look back at some of those early races, the main grandstand extended almost all the way down to the backstretch, and then there are a ton of seats on the backstretch that aren't used. They're covered up with advertisements now. Of course, you've got Big Hoss back there, the world's largest television set, which is the size of a 10-story building. The other thing that people don't realize about the state of Texas and automobile racing, this is actually the second speedway ever built in Texas. The other one, Texas World Speedway, which was a twin to Michigan with higher banking yet. It just met its demise not more than about a year ago. They started tearing that joint down for condos, and very sad because
it's hard to believe that it actually lasted as long as it did.
It was, in an ode to Texas World Speedway. That place was halfway between. It was kind of built along the same philosophy as Talladega. Remember last week, Sam, we talked about Talladega being halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta. Texas World was built with that same philosophy. It is in College Station, which is halfway between Austin and Houston, and so just for whatever reason, it never caught on. I think it might have been built 15 years too soon. College Station back in the 60s when that place was built, not a very big place. It was A&M and that's it. Well, College Station is a pretty big place now. And so, had they built that track in 1980 instead of 1969, it might still be around.
Right.
But just didn't.
There was a lot of racing outside of just Cup cars there. I mean, it had 2 road courses at that particular track.
It did. And the road courses were designed by Sterling Moss. They were very popular amongst the club racers, the SCCA people, track days, and so forth. It was one of the most used racetracks in the United States. It was unfortunate. It's unfortunate because many of those clubs, they don't have anywhere to go now to do their thing. They've got to come up here to TMS. The good thing about Texas Motor Speedway, though, they did add a road course in 1999, or excuse me, they did add a road course, and it's been open since 2000. You can see it in the blimp shots. It is not up to the standard of the Roval, let's say, but there is an infield road course for the track day people to come play on. So this track is seeing some of that usage. Just like Atlanta, just like Charlotte, it does have the condos. You can see the building over there, turn 2. So there is that as well. It's got a speedway club just like Charlotte, and it's got the luxury boxes all the way around that main grandstand for the people. There's a little bit of money in Dallas to fill those things up, Sam.
Really? I can't imagine. I wonder where they get it.
I
can't even see Texas with any kind of commerce.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure if you got in a parking lot and shoot your 12 gauge into the ground, you might strike oil. Maybe, right?
So, being the prolific indie person that you are, now Texas World, I've always been enamored by Texas World Speedway. If we can go back and talk about it just for a second, though, who is the most winningest USAC driver or Indy driver at Texas World? Because they ran there. My favorite Indy driver, and this is the only reason I know this.
Yeah, I mean, the winningest driver at Texas World Speedway, it's got to be AJ Foyt.
Yeah, AJ Foyt.
It's got to be AJ Foyt.
Yeah.
It's got to be not only just because it's in Texas, but also because Foyt, the king of the big speedways, and the time that track was in its heyday.
Yeah. I was always a big AJ Foyt fan.
Who was the winningest stock car racer at Texas World?
When I know that one too, because when I was a boy, that was who I idolized until Dale Earnhardt came along. Richard Petty was who I followed and kept track of constantly, and so
There you go.
In fact, I'm sitting here now, and I have a picture with me and Richard Petty at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it sits right within eye shot of me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Richard Petty won the most races at Texas World.
Texas owns the most wins as a state at Texas World, by the way, because Johnny Rutherford won there twice as well. Oh,
no, that's an interesting fact. Wow.
Yeah, so there were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 IndyCar races at Texas World Speedway. 6 of them won by Texans. Do want to thank everybody who is tuned in for the pre-race show. We are getting ready to go with
I'm getting ready to fire up these qualifying runs. I'm excited to see what the lap times in practice are blistering. I mean, there's sub 30-second laps going on here. There are some fast drivers here tonight, and to turn these kind of laps, the weather conditions have to be conducive, and these guys really have to be up on the wheel, especially at speed. So I'm interested to see who's going to put their car on the front row tonight.
We're gonna have absolutely. We're gonna have a series
saddle up.
Yeah, we're gonna have series director Kendall Paul. He's gonna show us.
Have all these cowboy euphemisms tonight. I don't know.
We're going to have Kendall Paul show us the way around Texas Motor Speedway. There are the weather conditions: 75 on the 75 in the air, 81 on the track tonight here at Virtual Texas. Do want to thank Donald Green for chiming in the chat, Birdie as well. Thank you for the congratulations. It's been a long road, but we have made the 1,000 subscribers.
Mike Brinkney's back.
He is. Mike cannot stay away. He was watching Matty Wagner's crew in the Horizon League last night. Mike is a P1 fanatic. So there we go. Here's Kendall Paul, and you'll see it 185 miles an hour down into turn 1, lap 1.
Yep.
Right on the bottom.
Look how loose that car is. Look how loose that car is right there.
Yeah, we're on the roll bar with him. You can hear him playing with the throttle, Sam.
Yeah, I'm in the cockpit watching him to drive it, and so it's really tender. You can use a lot more throttle through 3 and 4. It still gets a little loose, and it wants to throw you toward the wall. But what a good lap! That's a good lap.
Yes, it is. Here's through the eyes of Kendall Paul, and you can see it. Man, he is fighting that thing.
It is going to be on cold tires. This car is going to prove to be a challenge, especially on starts and restarts. These guys are really going to have to be patient going through 1 and 2 and give each other some room.
Yes, they are through 3 and 4. Mike says he's a sim racing fan. Aren't we all, brother? Kendall Paul is going to bring it across the line. His first lap, 10th quick. Second lap, 30.156, and that is going to move him up.
Heat in the tires that time by?
Yeah, moves him up to 9th. So that is the set of laps for Kendall Paul. We've got Ryan O'Donohue. Familiar face. Ryan O'Donohue is out. His second lap is in the books, 29.984. That's going to put him 4th quick. Who else we got out here? Well, let's show Donald Green. He's got a special Texas. He's got a special Texas scheme on that car.
Oh, Donald's always bringing his A game, wanting so much to do well in this league. You really have to give kudos to Donald. He tries very hard here.
Yeah, he does. Got a good-looking line through turns 1 and 2. He's not right on the bottom, but
I know some drivers are a little more comfortable off the bottom, where the rubber has a tendency to settle a little bit more.
Now, this is lap 1, so Donald's going to run a little bit higher in turns 1 and 2. Yeah, burn a lap.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Now, when they go into 1 right here, there is a transition right about there where the car kind of dips. The corner dips, and it will preload the car, and it'll get extremely light, and that will make the car seem like it's about to spin out on you.
You know, it might. The other trouble spot is here off of turn number 4. The track appears to be very wide, but you fall out of the banking at Texas, meaning you run down the hill off the corner. And if you're up top on old tires especially, it will turn you loose. The other part about Texas, as Donald Green checks in 24th quick, Eric Corder is the last person out. We'll go ahead and show Eric's run with 35 seconds left. The other thing that people could realize about these places, just like Talladega, you get really light going through that double dog leg on old tires, and you can see people.
Oh, Eric Corder. Woo! What a save. He just about lost it.
Yes, he did. But you can see people get very light, and they could crash the automobile going through that tri-oval. It's not a straightaway, and it's not a free pass after you get some heat in the tires. But here's Eric Corder. He is the last person through the time clock, 31.327. That is his final lap, and that's going to put him 24th quick.
Some drivers will have different strategies of how they're going to run their laps here, and I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. Some drivers are going to be very aggressive on their entry and just use a little bit of brake to kind of control the car and get it to the bottom, or to settle it through the center. And then there are other drivers who will just roll out of the throttle a little earlier and allow the car to set itself. I have actually raced guys who will clutch the entire race in turn one.
Yeah, I've seen guys do that too. Speaking of guys not clutching, I have a surprise pole winner for you, Sam. That's going to be Greg Evans, 176.7.
Who's that? Is he new here?
He must be, but the deuce on the pole, 176.763. Ryan O'Donohue to his outside. He's going to start second. Joseph Klein is going to go third. He's going to have Joshua Siegfried to his outside. So there are those two. Row 3, Jason Heaney, Nolan Milnes. Row 4, Dylan Godinez and Trevor Benz. Starting 9th and 10th, Corey Crandall and Kendale Paul. In 11th, Sean Merriman. And then 12th, Michael Moquin. 13th, Caleb Jones. 14th, Troy Carricker. There they are. Christian Light and Braden Langley are going to go 15th and 16th. Brian Wasserman will start 17th. Keith Graham 18th. Mark Cofield and Lee Campbell are 19th and 20th. 21st, Mark Owlett. 22nd, Brian Sharp. Ted Craven and Eric Corder, 23rd and 24th. A 26 car field, at least on the entry list. Donald Green, 25th. James Hodgson, if he can get logged in, will go 26th. He was experiencing some computer issues.
Yeah, he's still not in the server yet.
Yeah, he's not in the server, but I understand he was experiencing some computer issues.
He still has 3 minutes.
Yeah, he still does. And then he was in Discord, so hopefully he can make it. And then, of course, the broadcasters are not going to be running tonight because nobody wants to see that, Sam.
No, nobody wants to see that. I'm surprised they even want to listen to me, much less see me.
I guarantee you I'm surprised they don't want to listen to me. But here we go. The pace car does not give the shot that we want. So we'll go back to the TV view. We'll get rid of the music, and Sam, we're about ready to hear some different kind of sweet music. 200 laps here at Texas.
We're going to be trying to get in different perspectives here. I'm going to get up on the grandstands if I can, when I can. Get into the blimp and ride up there for a while. I'm going to be checking out the drivers and all the perspectives that my camera views will give me.
Yeah, we do want to thank Whiplash SimCams. I will try to find the Mike Rigney seat on top of the tower if I can. We do also at this track have the fan cam, and so I am absolutely looking forward to that, Sam. The pace car is getting ready to duck on off. Greg Evans has control of the field. Barney has the green flag in hand. This is from the grandstands.
Check up here at the start. They're checking up a little accordion going at the beginning of the race here, so looks like everyone's able to clear it, no problems.
Yes, they do. Everybody through turns 1 and 2, clean and green. Here we go. Greg Evans is going to come off.
Oh, hey, Heaney is really loose coming off of 2, and he gets sandwiched there in the middle between 99 of Joshua Siegfried and Dylan Godinez.
And there they are. There's Dylan Godinez. He's on the bottom. He's got Joshua Siegfried to his outside. Nolan Milnes glances off the wall coming off of turn number 4. Meanwhile, we do want to thank Shelby Carricker one more time. Thank you so much for your support of the P1 Broadcasting Network. We are at 1,000 subscribers, Sam, And this is, the super chats and
Will you
things
say
like
that again? It sounded really good. Will you say that again?
1,000 subscribers,
1,000.
Sam. 1,000. We're 1,000 plus.
Now, I want to give, I do want to take just a moment to give kudos to Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy, before the month of April began,
And there's
Mark
Troy.
Murphy he had told me, he said, we will get there by the end of April. He called it, he called his shot, and we've done it thanks to you folks. And so we're so grateful for all of our faithful viewers and the fact that you show up week in, week out, cheer us on, and then there's folks like Shelby who are more than generous just to give us a little something here. So thank you all for your subscriptions.
Yeah, we do absolutely. Thank you very much for that. There's Troy Carricker. He runs along in 18th spot. Meanwhile, from the lead, Greg Evans, he's got the challenge from Joseph Klein. Joseph Klein has taken the lead. Evans now back to second. Color me shocked, Sam. We'd never see Greg Evans save a little bit now to go fast later.
No.
Never, ever could you have.
Hard Charger award goes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ryan O'Donohue, he's looking for that second spot. Right behind them, you've got Dylan Godness and Joshua Siegfried. Jason Heaney is in that picture in the number 9 Napa machine. And then Nolan Milnes. Nolan hit the wall coming off of turn number 4 on lap 1. He settled in to the 7th spot in the number 1 machine, kind of hanging on the back of that lead draft. And I'm going to tell you what, Sam, Nolan Milnes is he's probably got a little bit of damage to fix when he gets to pit lane for that first stop at the stage break, which will happen at lap 45. There'll be another one at 90. So do kind of note the stage breaks as well, fans.
The tendency at this particular track is that when you're in a stock car, you just really want to overdrive these corners. You have so much grip in 3 and 4. You have all that wide racetrack in 1 and 2, and you're overcome as a racer. Sometimes you just want to stick it in there and throttle down as much as you can, as fast as you can, and you have to beat that temptation at this particular racetrack simply because of the tire wear and how quickly it can affect the car and your ability to stay consistent. It is one of the hardest things I know for myself at this particular racetrack is to have the patience and allow the race to come to me instead of me trying to force issues.
You're absolutely correct, Sam, and that's a thing with any kind of race car here. The open wheel cars, where clearly I specialize, you can really, really hurt. If you're not careful, you can really hurt the right front on those cars, and I'd assume
it's
the same on the stock car. Thank you so much, Shelby, one more time. But you can really hurt the right front on those cars if you approach turns 1 and 2 incorrectly. It feels like you can be Superman through there, but you wake up 10 laps into a run, you're like, this car won't turn. I would assume that it's probably the same way in these stock cars where, if you can charge through there, you can charge through there with your hair on fire a time or two, but you don't want to do it too often. We're watching Brian Sharp. He's battling with Keith Graham. This is 18th and 19th. Next best battle on the track is Trevor Benz. He has moved to the outside of Kendale Paul, and they've been like this for a couple of laps, Sam.
There are 2 significant racing lines here. I'm interested another thing that I'm interested to see as the race goes on is about how much grass they're going to take out of that corner of the tri-oval, because drivers have a tendency to want to eat up as much of the racetrack as they can in the tri-oval, and they'll just rip up all that sod there.
Yeah, they will, and that's something that
I don't think Texas put down artificial turf like Charlotte did they?
They have not, so it is grass.
I didn't think so.
The other thing is you can kind of see the brown areas. Thank you once again, Shelby. That is Shelby's 5th super chat for us, and so double thank you, Shelby Carricker, for your support of the P1 Broadcasting Channel and all of our fans. I do want to point out that no, there is no grass down there, Sam. But we're gonna get on board with Trevor Benz as he runs around here in 10th, and I want to call your attention. To the fans at home, I want to call your attention to the edge of the grass between the grass and the asphalt. you'll see that brown strip right there. That's race cars running through the grass. And
Exactly.
that's race cars running through the grass. And it will throw that grass up out on the track now in iRacing. And so it can become very slick down toward that area as the race
Sometimes
rolls on.
It can destabilize the car a little bit on your entry if you're cutting off the too much track on going into 1, or if you're coming off of 4 and you cut that first dog leg. So it can disturb the car enough that it can slow you down.
Oh yeah, there's Jason Heaney. He's going underneath Dylan Godness. So let's move Heaney up to 4th. We'll put Godness back to 5th momentarily. Thank you so much for tuning in, Katie Green. But we're gonna, well, maybe not. Dylan Godness fights back on the outside. He does not want to surrender that 4th position. Joseph Klein has sodded off from Greg Evans. Joseph Klein now 1.7 seconds ahead, and we're going to check that out in about 15 laps because
lap 20 you're going to start seeing who's the more prolific person of saving tires. About 20 laps in, you'll start seeing things equalize for a lot of drivers, or if they've ran it too hard at the beginning of the run, they'll begin to back up. If they've saved and conserved enough, they'll start moving forward. 20, 25 laps, somewhere in that number.
All right, man. Caution is out.
Oh, we have a caution on the racetrack. We're going to try and find out what happened here.
We do
on Speedway.
indeed. Caleb Jones is one of those cars with the damage, and so let's
on the apron right now.
Yeah, let's see.
It looks like he's battling.
Oh, okay.
Christian Light.
Yes, he is.
57 comes inside of him, and I think Caleb may have thought that he was going to go lower. Maybe he thought that Brian Wasserman was going to actually clip the dog leg more.
Well, this all starts on kind of on the backstretch. Brian Wasserman makes it 3 wide. He's got Caleb Jones in the monkey in the middle, and they've got the 96, a Christian Light, right there, and the contact is made between the 57 of Brian Wasserman. Around goes the 12 of Caleb Jones. And a very interested observer, Shelby, Troy Carricker, goes right on by. Some light contact with the outside retaining wall for the 12. And so he's going to have some damage. But we're going to get on.
He hit it square. He hit it square. It should be repairable.
Yep. We're gonna get on board Troy Carricker here, just so that we can show his his view of this. Watch this, Sam. You're coming off of turn 2. They make it 3 wide. That's Light on top. The 12 of Caleb Jones in the middle, and you've got the 57 of Brian Wasserman on the inside. Mexican Pale Ale.
Wasserman has this incredibly low exit off of 2 and gets this big run as those two are racing for a position. So there's a little bit of give and take on the throttle as they're coming off of turn 2. And Wasserman's going to hold this line. And I can't help but think that maybe Caleb either was trying to discourage him from going on the inside, or he expected him to go lower.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, obviously. It's one of those things people come together. Now, here in the AMA, we do have limited tire sets. Lap 16 of 20, Mark Cofield, Lee Campbell, Brian Wasserman, Christian Light, Braden Langley, Caleb Jones have all made it to the pit lane. Caleb Jones was in his box 40 seconds, and so Caleb Jones has got his automobile repaired, and there is the 12. Let's see if we can't get in tighter on him. The rear end looks a little bit straighter now. He got that square, so it's not gonna be a huge deal for Caleb. It's not gonna result in large losses of grip, but do want to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile,
back at that spoiler up, you may get a little bit more downforce.
You raise a good point there, Sam. You raise a doggone good point. Meanwhile,
what you were saying earlier is the drivers will have, they start with 1 set on the car, of course, but they'll have 5 additional sets of tires tonight, so 6 total. So there will be the option of being able to change tires.
Yes, they will. We're going to get the green flag.
There should be plenty.
Should be plenty. Never underestimate a race driver's desire to change tires, Sam.
Oh, especially if you think that you have sets to burn, because you'll have drivers that will gamble.
Oh yeah,
They will gamble.
for certain, sure. You're not going to see anybody at the front do it, but we'll have to keep an
If
eye
you
on
think
Wasserman.
Texas Hold'em is big in Las Vegas, you ought to try it in NASCAR racing.
Yeah, that's no limits Texas, right, Sam? No limits Texas, but we're going to see exactly how Wasserman, Campbell, Cofield, Langley, Light, and Jones fare. Pace car is off the speedway. There's the field. They're coming toward the green flag, Sam.
Green, green.
We'll get another clean start. Oh, Joseph Klein with another big jump here. I think he likes it out front.
I believe I'm going to have to bill you right. There it is from the blimp as they fan out. They're going to go too wide. Nobody, Sam, venturing outside of that second lane. We do have some cars toward the back that are a little bit
Dylan
higher.
Godinez and Heaney are door to door as they go down the backstretch. But Heaney will wisely give up the position.
So we do have some. We do want to. We're going to get back to the. We're going to get back to 10th because you've got a lot of action here. Sean Merriman up on the top of Michael Moquin. They've got Kendale Paul right
Moquin in a new paint tonight.
Yes, he is. And then from the roll bar, that's Troy Carricker. Troy's running along in 13th. He's moved up quite a bit in this field. Troy Carricker started his day. Well, he started in 14th. He's been back to 18th. Troy Carricker is now 13th, and so there he is. We do want to give a shout out to our man Matty Wagner. He's joined us in the chat. He says he's racing on Thursday, so that's good news for Matty Wags. Of course, qualifying for the Elite Racing League ERL 500 was tonight. Matty Wags is going to be over the moon to be in that race. They had 80-something entrants for that deal, Sam.
Wow.
That's a big deal. Wagner also trying to qualify for the Majors 500. So he's busy at Indianapolis.
He's not going to drive away the second time unless something really changes here, because this time Greg Evans has decided he's going to hold on to him.
Well, if it's up to Kyle Heath, we're gonna have somebody put some sugar in his gas tank. Is the response from Greg's rival Kyle Heath? Sugar in the gas tank, he says. Unfortunately, Kyle's kids had a football game tonight. Went later than expected, and so.
Well, kudos to you, Kyle, for your dedication to your family, man.
Yeah, that's more important than anything else. Is our family. We do this for fun. So, it's always there are always more important things. And then, of course, Wagner seconds the motion. Somebody put sugar in Greg's gas tank. They all say somebody ought to put some sugar in Joseph Klein's gas tank, because he has got the point. Those two have pulled out about 0.7 of a second over Ryan O'Donoghue. We are in the grandstands watching this battle here. Nearest one for position, that's Joseph Klein. Joshua Siegfried, he dives it to the bottom on Dylan Godinez. Let's see what these two can do here. The bottom does not seem to be the panacea that many of the drivers thought it might be, Sam.
Some drivers seem to be really happy there, and other drivers they really don't want to take the gamble of using up a lot of right rear tire through 3 and 4 especially. But as you alluded to earlier, if you're going to use a higher entry and run a higher lane than 3 and 4, then what you're going to do is you're going to run into more wear in the right front.
Yo, right front, right rear, they're all wearing out right there on Christian Light. He was up in the Murphy line. He got a huge run coming off of turn number 2. He blasted past Keith Graham. He almost ran in the back of poor Eric Quarter, and he's going to pull up on Sean Merriman and Brian Sharp. That is a car with tires on it, Sam. The 96 of Christian Light. Yeah, Boulder Crest.
He is really being aggressive with those tires. Oh, and Wasserman gets into the side of Graham coming off of 2 there. No harm, no foul here, but Graham has slowed down considerably.
Now, if you're Brian Sharp, do you race? And thank you, Maddie, for the congratulations. Do you race the car with tires hard here, or risk finding the trees, or do you want to kind of simmer down Do you want to kind of simmer down?
Look at that big run. Look at that huge run Christian Light gets there. Me personally, if I know someone has tires, I'm not getting in their way. Why would I ruin my race and hold someone else up knowing that they already have fresh rubber? It just doesn't make sense to me why you would race somebody hard knowing that they have 15, 16, 17 lap fresher tires. It just doesn't make sense to me. But some drivers, it doesn't matter who you are. They're going to race you as hard as they can race you.
You got it. Here is the automobile. We're going to go to the speed shot, but here's the automobile of Christian Light. It was 0.8 of a second when he went past Brian Sharp. He has chopped that deficit to Troy Carricker in half in just a lap. And so here comes Christian Light. He is pulled up on the back of Troy Carricker. If we're not careful here, we've got 17 laps to go before the stage break. Christian Light might be making a bid for a top 5 in the stage, Sam.
He can really burn as much of this tire as he wants to because he has a stage break coming up. Oh, I thought he was going to split the middle right there for a second. I thought he was looking. But he can, he's only been running about 25 laps on this set of tires, and he'll probably change again at the stage break. So he can push this. He can push this set as hard as he wants to push this set and try to make up as much track position as he can.
I thought he was going to drive that baby to the wall.
I thought he was going to stick it in there too. I really did.
He's going to dive underneath the car, Michael Moquin.
Big run here.
Yep, big run off the bottom.
2 for 1. Two for 1 here.
Yes, he's going to be inside of Carricker. There's Troy.
Carricker's a smart racer. He's not going to force that issue.
No, he's not, and that's going to leave Light in. That's going to leave Light in 12th. Some damage. We're going to note. Just want to note, Sam. There's some damage on the back of that 8 veteran militia machine. So just kind of note that somebody's been in the back of Michael Moquin over there. We're following Christian Light. His storm through the field. It's not that he's upset, Ben Summerford. It's that Christian Light has tires that are half as old as his competitors. Everybody
he touches the apron and gets really loose right there.
Yes, Carricker he does.
Closes in on his bumper and wants to take advantage of the mistake.
But he just doesn't have the grip coming off the corner that Christian Light does. Watch as he fires it in on the outside, and he's going to get a massive run down the back.
Right here.
Yep.
Right, he'll cross over here, get a big run beside Crandall, and he'll dive it deep here into 3. And start working on Trevor Benz at this particular point. Of course, he really is flirting with that bottom line.
Yes, he is. I
think almost he's trying to get it down to the bottom too soon, and that he loses run off of 4 that way, and that's why Crandall was able to kind of close that gap. But he's got this big curvature going on 1 and 2 where he gets these big runs going down the backstretch.
No, I'd like to see him a lane or 2 higher, Sam. You get a lane or 2 higher. You need to get up there. You need to get up there where it's totally gray, where you see me run up there in the open wheel car. Get up there next to the fence. There's grip up there. I promise. I promise you, there's grip up there, Sam.
Don't tease me.
I look a lot like Handsome Harry when I run this place in an Indy car. There goes Christian Light. He's pulled up to the back of the first gear machine of Trevor Benz, and he's going to try to give it a go. We're going to look at it through his helmet. By the way, it has gotten very overcast here at Virtual Texas. 70 degrees in the air.
Don't adjust your sets. I think this is just humidity that's showing on the race server.
Yeah, 70 degrees on the track, 70 in the air, 84 on the track, 95.9% humidity, Sam. Hoo-wee. Mm-hmm. It is a sticky one. I hope we don't get fog. Because that can happen when the conditions are like this. Oh. Both Christian Light and Trevor Benz are loose.
Now Trevor clearly is one of those drivers who says, "I'm going to race you."
Yeah, he's going to. Well, he's laying in a points paying spot for the stage break, but just can't hold off the fresher tires. We're going to put Braden or Christian Light back to 10th. Next up is Braden Langley. Meanwhile, we've got battle for 5th. That's Ryan O'Donohue on the outside. Nolan Milnes is on the inside. Milnes will take it. Kendall Paul follow him through. So
some of these drivers are going to use this first run, this first stage. They're going to use this as a litmus test just to see exactly how hard they can push the car, what lines work for them, what kind of pace the leaders are going to maintain. They'll utilize these stages to try and learn more about the car, so that when we get to the last stage, they'll know exactly how to fulfill their strategies.
yes, they will. And right now, we're kind of seeing it. Greg Evans, he had let Joseph Klein side away in that first run. He's not letting him get away this time. I don't think Greg is going to have anything for Joseph Klein. He's about a tenth quicker. Joseph Klein 4/10, 5/10 up the road. I don't think Greg has anything for him for the stage, but I definitely think that Greg Evans has kind of figured out what he needs to do in terms of tire strategy here in order to win the race and win the race at the end.
Oh, of course, he wants to see how his opponents handle their runs as well.
100%. Let's see if we can't find a battle on the track. Trevor Benz is back to Christian Light, and Troy Carricker has passed them both. So that's what happens when you get to racing hard like that, Sam.
Christian's really probably used up a lot of that tire pushing so hard. Like I said, he only had about 25 laps that he was going to try and run on that set. And you can overdrive those tires and heat them up really quickly, and they will equalize on you. And that may be what we're seeing with Christian Light. And now that Troy Carricker and now Trevor Benz is actually catching him and trying to maneuver back around him again after Christian Light passed him earlier.
Kyle Heath chimes in. He said if he was here,
he's already lost 2 seconds in the last few laps.
Yeah, Christian Light, I mean, you can overdrive the time, which just like we talked about. You can go fast for a few laps, but you can abuse those babies, get them hot, and you're not going anywhere. And that's kind of what happens to Christian Light. He's gone from the fastest car on the track to 4/10 a second off the pace. Meanwhile, the fastest car the last 2 laps through, that's this man, Troy Carricker. Give a call down to Troy. 31.431 the last time through, 31.7 for the leader. So Troy Carricker is bringing it. He's about to catch this Ryan O'Donohue, Dylan Godnez, Kendall Paul battle that's shaping up. Kendall Paul is gonna back out of that. He's gonna let Dylan Godnez go past. Also, Greg Evans has caught, and I am shocked, Sam. Shocked.
I was just waiting for you to. I noticed you said I don't think he has anything for Joseph Klein at the end of the stage.
He's over there watching he's over there watching the broadcast, trying to make me look bad, isn't he, Sam?
Greg Evans is probably one of the better David Copperfields in iRacing. You never know what's up his sleeve. So.
And there he goes, right on the back of Joseph Klein. We're going to keep the battle for the stage win here.
Notice he's changed his line here in the closing laps of the stage.
Yeah, we're going to get on the roll bar and we're going to check that line out. Greg Evans is entering about a half a lane higher than Joseph Klein, and he's getting a great drive off the corner. And that's part of the experimentation that you do at a track like this. Also, do note, fans, the fog has started to roll in. The humid fog in the sim is here, and so don't adjust your computer monitors or your TVs. That is the humidity here at Texas. It has now reached over 96%.
That's why it's causing this haze that you're seeing. There's no grass fires or anything like that. It's just the humidity in the sim causes this.
The haze effect. Now, if you want to,
and Evans actually takes the wall there.
Yeah, he got it a little bit. He just kind of glanced off of it, a la Nolan Milnes earlier today. He keeps on trucking, though, right behind the leader, Joseph Klein. If you want to see a grass fire, and thank you so much for joining us, Clindy. Did you bring any of the Clindy heads along?
Here goes Evans to the
lead. We got trouble.
He touches Klein. Oh, no, he touches Klein and spins him out.
All right, man, caution is out. Caution is out.
Oh, and Troy Carricker gets into him at the end. Oh, no. Let's go back, and we're gonna have a look at this entire sequence.
What did we just see?
Well, we're going to have a look at it. So here is Joseph Klein. He's going down the back. He's got Greg Evans behind him. Now, Evans is going to pop right here down the middle of the backstretch. Evans is going down. And Sam, I'm going to let you be the judge of this.
Well, if you're, camera angle that I'm using is from the helicopter, and so I'm watching as they're going down the backstretch, and you're right, Greg closed in on him so fast he moved inside. It looks like Klein just makes just a slight adjustment and moves toward that white line a little bit, and Greg was there. I don't think Greg actually, Evans said in chat, he said, I wasn't trying to wreck you or do anything like that. I think he was just closed in on him so fast that he just moved inside not to hit him. And then there was just a little adjustment by Klein there, and Evans was already there.
Yes, it was. And so there's Greg Evans.
Or Klein was beginning his entry, and his spotter may not have said inside yet.
That's possible. It would have been a little bit early for entry, but it's possible he just moved down that little bit.
Wow.
There's the initial impact, and then there's the initial
impact. It looks like he's going to come out. He's going to come out of this thing somewhat unscathed, just a little bit of touch on the back, but then he's up in the racing line here.
Well, and then here's Troy Carricker. Poor Troy. He's coming along through there. They're racing hard.
When he clips the front, yeah.
He can't really, you're on board. You're seeing what Troy Carricker sees. Yeah, the yellow light's out, and yeah, he's off the gas. You can see the RPMs going down, but he's high trying to avoid Kendall Paul, and just he can't get the car turned. Poor Troy Carricker. Bounces.
You're really, a lot of times you're depending on other drivers. Hey, car high. But once he gets into his entry, it is hard to put that much steering wheel input. You can see he has the wheel completely turned left.
Yeah,
it's hard to get the front tires to respond because you just ran 45 laps on those tires.
Yes, it is. We are going to have wholesale pit stops. That is going to be the stage here. And we're going to focus on Troy Carricker. That machine had made it up to 7th in the stage, and so Troy Carricker was a man on a long run mission. And we're going to see exactly what kind of damage he has. Everybody in this field is on pit lane, with the exception of Mark. Well, no, Mark Cofield came in as well. I was going to say everybody except for Cofield, but Cofield is in the pits. Joseph Klein does have the meatball. He will respect that. He is also on the pit lane. We're watching Carricker to see exactly what kind of damage is on that 94 machine. It doesn't look. He hit it with the right front.
Right. No, I'm actually. I have a close up of his car, and as far as visual damage, I don't see a lot of visual damage on his car.
I don't either. Now he's obviously fixing something. He's been
because he did hit the right front. The right front, he could have had wheel or suspension damage.
That's totally possible. Trying to get the
looking at, I'm on the front right quarter, and I just don't see any the right front suspension.
Well, there he goes.
I don't see a wrinkle in the fender. I don't see any broken braces or anything like that. It seems to me it was all repairable.
Could be. Joseph Klein, unfortunately not repairable. Poor Joseph, still on pit lane, 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Keith Graham also took the opportunity to effect significant repair, a minute 5 on the pit lane. Mark Cofield, Caleb Jones, and Michael Moquin all took long repairs. Lee Campbell had about 13 seconds worth of damage, it appears, and so do kind of note that. But I think that with a minute 1 in the box, Troy Carricker probably has everything fixed that he can get fixed. So he'll be back out.
I'm looking at the car very well. Now, poor Joseph Klein, on the other hand, he's already 2 laps down.
Yep. And
he is still sitting on the pit lane.
But
he's playing with the throttle. So he's
got significant front and rear damage much more significant to the front, and so he may be in.
He's still in the car though, because you can see that he's playing with the throttle.
Right, you are, Sam. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. By the way, not only for all of our competitors that weren't able to make it, all the fans that tuned it in regularly. Big shout out to Shelby Carricker for her support this evening. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video. Ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. We're going back to green flag action here, Sam. Stage 2
Green, green.
begins now.
Wow, that was interesting. Oh, Heaney really slow coming off the 2. Dylan Godnez.
Well, we got trouble in the back. We got trouble in the back. Trouble. We've got several cars hard into the wall. Caleb Jones just took a massive lick. Caution back on the Speedway.
Who else is involved?
Let's get the replay out. There's the 80 of Mark Owlett. This all started.
See where this started.
Well, this all starts with Donald Green. So the 6 is sideways. He gets it collected, gets it saved, and then the number 12 of Caleb Jones gives him a shot. Donald Green went from the bottom of the racetrack all the way up to the top. He saves it.
And Carricker. Oh, again. And Keith Graham completely T-bones the 6. That's some significant contact for Keith Graham there, as well as Donald Green.
Mark Owlett.
Carricker just got that right front fender fixed, and now he's got damage to it again.
Mark Owlett also significant damage. And then, poor Caleb Jones, he had just gotten it fixed. He got it again. We're going to get on board with the number 12 machine and just watch. Because there's Owlett to the outside. And there you see Donald Green get loose. Donald Green does an amazing job, Sam, of saving that race car. He had it saved and not saved anymore. The man known as Reaper's Double in the chat gets hit hard, and then Caleb Jones gets 2 for the price of 1. He makes contact with Owlett. Around he goes, and then he's going to hit the trifecta because it's going to spin around right here, and he is going to get just absolutely drilled right in the back by Keith Graham. Tough sequence there for the number 12 of Caleb Jones. We're under caution, 51 of 120 laps here. At
a lot of these drivers, though, are going to be able to get repairs. Just depending. We'll just have to wait and see how long they're in the pit lane. Joseph Klein is still on pit lane.
Well, and this is good news. Well, Joseph Klein is punched out.
Is not on pit lane.
Yeah, he's punched out. So is Keith Graham. Mark Owlett.
He has.
Mark Owlett has the meatball. Thank you so much one more time to Shelby Carricker. We do appreciate your help. And yes, James, Brian Sharp avoids the trees. Let's knock on some wood, Sam. If you've got some oak, some knotty pine, maybe a little bit of cherry, start knocking, brother.
Desk is made out of maple.
Brian Sharp up to 16, and he has avoided not one but two accidents this evening. So kudos to our man Brian Sharp. I told him we've started a rolling skins game to see how long he can go without being caught up in the trees. The pot stands at 25 cents, Sam.
Oh, does it?
If he can avoid the trees this week, tomorrow it'll go to 50 cents, 75 cents, and then we'll just give it to him whenever he wins the skin, right? Poor Brian Sharp has been caught up in a ton of bad luck. Troy Carricker, though, he might have had just a little bit of good luck. He came back onto the pit lane. He got another minute worth of damage fixed. I would suspect that he has not changed tires because they were just out. So that was pure damage fixing But being under yellow like this, Sam, if you've got damage at a speedway like this, you had best come get it fixed.
Oh, you don't want to leave any damage on, because you'll drop like a rock at this particular racetrack.
Yes, you will. Donald Green is under repair, 315. Do feel so bad for Donald. He's such a sport. He's in here supporting the channel, supporting the chat, watching other races
Donald
on
is
P1.
an excellent example of just somebody that just really wants to do well and loves this hobby, and he's just got the best attitude. He really does.
Yes, he does. Meanwhile, we're going to get in the blimp and watch. That's Nolan Milnes. He has Jason Heaney to his inside. If this ain't a mess, it'll do till the mess gets here, saying they were about 4 wide over there going into turn 3.
Jason Heaney has shown me with...
Whoa, 3 wide, Dylan Godness!
Dylan Godness really stuck it in there. Now, Christian Light's probably going to do the same thing. Christian Light has worked his way back up into the top 10 here.
Poor Kendale Paul has to be looking in his rearview mirror going, who in the world put ants in their pants back there behind me? Because they've all of a sudden got super racy, and the reason we stay in the blimp is I want to make sure we can show it to our fans out here. We've got a big crowd saying they need to watch some great racing action. Dylan Godness powers to the inside of Jason Heaney.
He's not wasting any time. He wants to get to the front.
Yes, he does. Dylan Godness, we're going to get up on the roll bar because he lines up Greg Evans. He's not going to get it this time, but you can hear in the throttle play right there for Dylan Godness. You can hear the throttle play. He is not wasting any time. He wants to get up there. He wants to get the lead. Now the question is he going to do what Christian Light did and burn those tires up before he's, before there's, right before a long run and start going backwards.
Christian Light got about 18 laps out of that fresh set of tires before they started equalizing and he started going backwards. And that was him pushing the car as hard as he could push the car.
Yes, he is, and he's still pushing it. He's going to drop to the inside of
Jason Heaney.
Yeah, he's going to drop to the inside of Jason Heaney. Can't quite make it stick back there.
Now, Heaney has been one of those drivers tonight that has impressed me just simply because he's just really conservative on his starts, and he allows the heat to get in the tires in a proper way, and then he begins to make his charge to the front. And of course, a lot of people will take advantage of that on restarts, but in my opinion, if you're going to race and have long runs here, that's the best way to have management of your tires so that you can get the most out of them over a long run.
It most certainly is. Jason Heaney now has pulled up on the deck lid of Dylan Godness, and so we're going to have a battle for second. Meanwhile, the man that loves that the most, that's Greg Evans. As they can fight all day behind him. He's gonna take that to the. That's time in the bank for him. Burn up your tires, boys. That's the strategy for the Deuce. He's not gonna mind this.
Well, he's got all that clean air. He has all that clean air out in front of him.
Yeah, he doesn't mind seeing what he's seeing in his mirror a bit, Sam.
No. If they get racy, then it just helps him continue to conserve tire. Now Christian Light's worked his way up from the start. He was in 7th on the restart, and now he's worked himself up to 4th. And he wants to come and be a part of this this battle at the 2nd position with Dylan Godness and Jason Heaney.
I think Godness could get up here and take the fight to Greg Evans. The issue with that is going to be Sam, is really this: the more he fights with Heaney, the more Greg Evans gets to sit up there, run a pace, and save his stuff. Meanwhile, Godness and Heaney are on it. They are racing each other as hard as they possibly can, and Christian Light is not lifting much behind them either. He's going for it all as well.
He's probably being a little patient behind these two to see how it gets sorted out. I know for myself, in races that I've raced against Greg Evans, I've had a tendency to get behind him and try to run his pace, and find myself burning my tires down just trying to keep up with him. It would probably be the same way with Kyle Heath, or Joseph Klein had a good piece under him tonight, and unfortunately saw an early end to his drive, but he certainly was a fast contender. I would probably have burned my stuff up behind him, trying to keep pace with them as well. I just really have to mentally put myself in a mindset that I'm going to run my race. I can't allow myself to fall into the trap of trying to run someone else's race. What their skill set is, their abilities, their talents, and how they do their throttle control, their braking, it may not be the way that I can do that. And if I try to emulate it, a lot of times I hurt myself more than I help myself.
Yeah, when you've got a racetrack like this, where it demands management of your tires. I kind of view racing at a track like this as more resource management than outright speed. Anybody can really be fast for 5 laps here probably, but once you start wearing hot laps, once you start burning down those tires, you really have to be able to manage them, and we're seeing that. Yes. Christian Light went fast for that short period of time. There goes Kendall Paul. He's going to get right back under him. Troy Carricker.
Ben in chat was asking about sets of tires. We had said earlier, Ben, that there was one set, of course, that they start the race on, and then there were 5 additional sets of tires for the remainder of the race. And so if Christian Light is indeed on his 3rd set of tires, then he will still have 3 sets left.
I am right on board with Troy Carricker because it does bear mentioning, Sam. Troy was almost the story of the tortoise and the hare in that first run. He went very slowly at the beginning, and he worked his way up to 7th by the end of that first stage. Now he had damage.
He did, and they had a fast car on the long run.
Yeah, and so we're kind of seeing that same refrain here. He started this run back in 20th. He was the last car on the lead lap. He had significant repair. He's worked his way back up to 16th. He is steadily running a pace of about 31.3, 31.4 seconds.
Yes, sir.
He's got the teddy bear right in front of him. That's Ted Craven, and he's closed Craven down over a second in the last 3 laps. And he is just about the fastest car, not Greg Evans or Jason Heaney on this racetrack right now.
Well, it just would make sense for Troy at this particular juncture just to run his race from the back of the field and allow those tires to get him to the front over the long haul up to lap 90 for the 2nd stage. And instead of just overdriving and putting a lot of pressure and heat and build up in those tires and then lose any advantage that he has in them. So it's just really smart on his part to run his race and work one position at a time.
Most certainly,
because he knows there's at least another caution coming up at lap 90.
Yeah, and so for Troy, it's all about just kind of keeping on. We're watching the teddy bear, Ted Craven, in the 30. He's doing a masterful job. Very much a Ted Craven style race. Stay out of trouble. Quietly log the laps and try to be there at the end in front of him. You've got the 25 of Braden Lane.
Oh, Christian Light in the wall coming off of 4. He started fading here a little bit as he's back to 9th position now, and then Brian Wasserman gets on the inside of him as they're coming off of turn 4, and then he brushes the wall coming off the exit there, and now it's opened the door for Rhino Donahue to catch him, and Rhino Donahue is going to be making a big push down the back stretch.
Yes, he is, and this is the best battle on the racetrack right now. We were talking about Braden Langley just briefly. He's another one having kind of a quiet day, but this is where the hornet's nest is. This is the action right here. You've got Michael Moquin leading this train. Behind him, Brian Wasserman, then Christian Light, Rhino Donahue, and Joshua Siegfried is the 5-car conga line. They are about to be joined by Sean Merriman and Corey Crandall, who are not too far off of this, about half of a second. And you'll see
they've been battling back and forth here. It's really interesting to watch. One of them will pass on the one end of the racetrack. The other will pass on the other end of the racetrack. I thought that was only for Indy drivers, where you just kind of hip-hop back and forth.
Well, you don't want to do that here. That's the issue. You don't want to do that here because in the open wheel car, you can do the tandem draft or the slingshot draft, as we call it. The problem is that if you run the high line, you got to have one person run high, one person low. if you run the high line here for more than 10 laps, you can do it for about 10. Any more than that, and the tires just you've burned them. It's not tread depth that gets you, but you've overheated them, and then there's just no grip. You'll go down into turn 1, lap 11, and you just simply cannot turn the automobile. We're watching from the blimp.
If you will, I would like for you to go back to lap 70. And I want you to watch Dylan Godinez as he makes his entry into turn 3.
I don't know that I can go. I don't think I can select a lap.
Just a couple of laps ago, Dylan Godinez was going into turn 3. Oh, and Kendall Paul hard into the wall. Hard into the wall on the backstretch. Trevor Benz will get around him.
Here it is. He's coming off a 2. I was trying to find the Dylan Godinez marker, but Kendall Paul.
Yeah, and Nolan Milnes really sticks it in there.
Ooh. And then right behind him, there were several cars that about followed Kendall in there. We saw Michael Moquin just about do it. Same with Brian Wasserman. Same with Christian Light and Joshua Siegfried. There were several cars that just about did the same thing as Kendall Paul. And so, the cars must be getting a little bit on the understeery side there, Sam.
Right, and it will. The longer the run, you start losing a lot of that loose condition, and the front tires start to lose their grip, and it's just really hard to turn. As we saw earlier with Troy Carricker trying to miss the 7 of Joseph Klein, who was at the top of the racetrack. Joseph Klein was doing everything right. He was holding the brake. He was sitting in the racetrack. But Troy just could not turn the car. And that's what happens on these long runs is these particular cars they get so much heat and wear in the front tires you can't turn them very well coming off the corners.
Yeah, I do want to thank James Hodgson. He chimes into the Super Chat game. Thank you so much, James. We definitely appreciate that. We do try. I don't think anybody's ever mistaken me for professional, but Sam is.
James, we miss you on the track, man. We really do. We're sorry that you had issues tonight, but you are certainly one of the highlights of our broadcast when we can mention your name and look at your liveries, and we appreciate your participation here in the AMA and your kindness and your gift. Thank you so much.
We do. That is the forward-facing 88 of James Hodgson on the shelf tonight with some computer issues. He said he's going to have to fire the engineer, but poor James was looking forward to this one, I know. Meanwhile, we're going to flop back to the battle for 5th. That's Michael Moquin. He's got Trevor Benz and Brian Wasserman in hot pursuit, and I thought that Trevor Benz was going to bin it right there. He had that car every which way but wrecked.
There's a great race going on behind these guys with Christian Light, Joshua Siegfried, and then Ryan O'Donohue and Corey Crandall. And then not far behind him is Kendall Paul, who gathered it back up. And it looks as though he does have some right front fender damage from that contact that he had with the wall. But he has gathered it back up, and he's racing in 12th. He's trying to catch this group that's racing in front of him. Ryan O'Donohue is working on the bumper of Christian Light incredibly hard to try and make up for this position as we're closing in with 12 laps to the end of the stage.
Forget that. I think Ryan O'Donohue just signed the rear bumper of Christian Light. He was all over that thing. Here he comes.
Big run here.
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's going to get to the outside of Light.
And Christian Light does just the right thing there. He sees the driver behind him making that big run on the outside. Instead of causing an incident or cutting off his momentum, he gives him that top line. Kudos to Christian Light. Sean Merriman was part of this going on, but where did Sean drop to? All the way back to 13th spot.
Yes, he has. I don't want to get away from this because Christian Light is now under extreme fire from Corey Crandall, and we have not mentioned Corey's name. We haven't called that name all night, but here he is. He's in a battle for the top 10. You're right. Sean Merriman has fallen off of the.
He's got a handful with that car back there.
He does. We're 10 laps to go in the stage. watching Christian Light try to fend off Corey Crandall, and that is the last spot in the top 10 that would pay here. And Crandall now, he's going to take it to the outside in 3 and 4. This is a move we have not seen yet today. Somebody try to go up top in 3 and 4, Sam.
Yeah, that's unusual. We've seen some cars late in the run get passed on the outside, but not our two cars are actually very similar in speed as what you're seeing here with Christian Light and Corey Crandall. We were watching Crandall and Sean Merriman, and they kept trading positions on each end of the racetrack because it seemed like Corey was much better through 3 and 4, and then Sean was better through 1 and 2.
Well, we got contact.
Contact. Christian actually makes a apology to Corey for crowding him there, and Corey let him know that he felt like he got a little piece of the apron. I love it when the drivers can communicate and be constructive with it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very common that you would get somebody upset and then they want to air their grievance in the server, but I'm a big admirer for drivers that are respectful. Oh, and we have caution on the racetrack.
We do have caution.
We see Brian Sharp. Is on the apron.
And there is a hood that has been separated from Mark Cofield. And so let's go back and see what.
Mark Cofield catches this. What you have is you've got Braden Langley, who is way up the racetrack in 1-2.
Yeah, there he is.
And he's coming off of turn 2, and he's trying to straighten this corner out without hitting the wall. And then Brian Sharp is running on the bottom, and then Langley just keeps that line so straight and comes into the side of Sharp as they're coming off the corner. Brian is completely within that middle lane.
Yeah, and then poor Mark Cofield had nowhere to go, but for Brian Sharp.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree.
Maybe Braden might have been trying to save the car, trying to.
Yeah, I mean, it gets really super when you run that top line like that. And a tough break for Brian Sharp. We don't mean to make light of his misfortune.
And Mark Cofield, too, of course.
Yeah. What happens is, at least in my experience, is if you're ripping that top line, coming off of the corner over there in either, it's not as pronounced in turn 2 as it is in turn 4, but it certainly is.
Braden has taken responsibility for the incident, but you really hate it for Brian, who was having a good event, and then Mark Cofield, who was just biding his time back there as well.
Yeah, what happens is it's kind of like off of 4, where if you've got a head of steam coming off the top over there off of 2, the car comes down the hill and it just unloads the back.
Yes, sir.
You have to be really careful, because if the tires are hot and you're short of grip back there, it will absolutely turn you loose. Here's the race off of pit road. Jason Heaney's going to win it. Nolan Milnes, Dylan Godnez are going to follow him off. But we had quite a few cars that did not pit. So there they are, led by Greg Evans.
Why would I don't remember. I do not know if Kendall Paul declared that would be the stage break. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. And here's the thing, right? If you're Greg Evans, you're racing for stage points. Same with Ryan O'Donohue. And so for those guys, they're going to stay out here.
They've proved they're fast on long run as well.
Yeah, and poor
Joseph. They'll just be careful on the restart. Restart with tire spin is evil here on old tires.
Yeah, it is. It's just like Atlanta, or Charlotte. You have to be really careful on old tires. Getting up to speed. Joseph Klein checks in. He says he was on rails, but now in the garage. Doesn't know what else could have been done. It's a shame. We kind of feel you there. It wasn't really anybody's fault. Just two cars came together and racing.
Joseph, you had a great piece tonight. I hurt for you, man. I've been in those positions, and I really do hurt for you. take a lot of solace in knowing that you had great speed and that you were a contender, and you bring that same spirit back to the next event, my friend. And we're going to be calling the races as you're going to be probably up front winning one before the year's over.
Oh, for certain, sure. The other thing that you had said there the other thing that you had said there, Sam, that really struck a chord with me is the immediate apology from Braden Langley. Right, the ownership of the incident. You know, I'm one of those guys that if and I did it to poor Matty Wagner on Tuesday night at Auto Club where I hit the weight jacker button and took him out and we were going to run
wow.
1-2 and
Wow.
I went to collapse the weight jacker and I did it about 20 feet too early and took him out and so. But immediately on the radio, I was actually upside down sliding across the finish line, apologizing to Matt. And so, your fellow driver will be a lot less upset with you if you just, if you key the mic and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry."
Right.
Just
And I
as
will
great.
tell you, an apology goes a long way in this hobby. And now some people may not accept it and they'll stay mad.
Green, green, green.
But if you're willing to just own up to the mistake, a lot of times it goes a long way with other drivers. It really does. It may not make them happy that they're out of the race, but it lets them know that you're taking ownership for the mistake.
It most certainly does. Look at that car way out
Oh,
wide.
Dylan Godinez again 3 wide. Oh, and he is loose.
Yes, he was. Kendall Paul also went way out to the outside wall and turn number one.
John Merriman also
1,
just got out of everyone's way.
Yeah, and that could be. Hey, I don't want to be any part of this. Y'all go right on ahead because the racing in front of Sean Merriman has gone bananas. There's
Big
Nolan
run
Miller's
for
big
Dylan
run.
Godinez. Oh, and he closes the gap quickly on Joseph Siegfried.
We've got 2 worth the price of admission. Dylan Godin is there. There he goes. He is under Joshua Siegfried. He's looking for.
Oh, he's not sparing any expense. He knows he's got 4 laps on these tires and he's going to use them.
Yes, he is. Meanwhile, there was a massive run for the number 1 of Nolan Milnes. He drove it all the way up to the top in turn number 1, and he's going to do it again. Christian Light, slow up there. Heaney's going to get it packed up. We're going to go 4 wide, Sam. Don't do it, boys.
And Dylan Godinez to the lead.
So there's Godinez. He's made the pass on Greg Evans. We're going to come to get 1 lap to go in the stage. Meanwhile,
They are still fighting it out here for 5th place.
Oh, they're fighting out for more than that. Moquin is 5th. Benz is 6th. Meanwhile, we got trouble.
And now Siegfried sideways. Can he save it? Yes, he.
No,
No! It looks like he's going to be up against the wall.
Get it going. He saved it.
No caution.
He saved it. Meanwhile, Ryan O'Donohue wiggling his way. Milnes is going to get under him. Jason Heaney and Brian Wasserman, they're going to do battle.
And now we have the stage break caution that's on the racetrack. Joshua Siegfried is Joey Chitwood in Texas tonight. What driving by Joshua Siegfried as he did everything he could to save that car. He's got a little bit of damage in the left rear. He may have just a little bit of damage on the right front, but he's kept it straight. He's kept it on the lead lap. Wow.
Holy mackerel.
That was interesting. That was
fun. But now we get a chance to eat a Rolaids and take a breath, Sam. Mike Rigney said it earlier. He likes good sim racing. You're not going to see any better sim racing than that. Do want to thank all of our sponsors, of course, in the series. Blackmagic Studios. If you look them up on Facebook or on Discord, Andy and Brian be happy to hook you up with a paint or a wrap for your iRacing machine at a reasonable price. I also understand, and I don't know where this came from, but it's been said, Sam, that a paint from Blackmagic Studios is worth 2/10.
That's the same rumor that I heard. It is worth 2/10. That's what I heard.
I have no idea who came up with that.
Well, the old adage is speed costs money. How fast do you want to go?
You know, I thought the old adage was. I thought the old adage was as if it looks good, it's going to go fast.
Well,
Unfortunately,
no, that's the one that says if you wash it and it's clean, it goes faster.
well, the looks good, it goes fast thing. Nobody, somebody forgot to tell that to Gordon Murray in the Brabham BT55 back in the mid '80s. Because that thing was pure eye candy on wheels, and whenever it didn't blow up, it was slow.
All right, let's. I'm interested to see Joshua Siegfried's pit stop here. I'm interested to see what's going to be the damage repair. The left front looks good. The right rear is being worked on as we speak.
It is indeed. I understand you're a painter too, Sam.
I do some painting myself. I have a little shop called Ghost Sim Lab, and I've had it for a number of years. I've been painting since the 2K3 days.
There you go. Also, we've got Archway Industrial Coatings, Track Racer, Rogue Energy Drink, and Admin Box. And I can't believe I always forget Admin Box because Fish has been selling those things like hotcakes to some of our friends, and they are wonderful tools. But I always forget Admin Box, and they're one of my sponsors, not just of the series, but me personally on the Indy Alliance racing team on the IR18 side. They've ridden with me. Don Fisher's ridden with me into some big victory lanes, and I always forget him, Sam.
Oh, how could you do that?
Well, it's mainly because I have no memory anymore. I'm getting old. I can't remember my own name half the time. Here we are, Sam. We're 94 of 200 complete. Donald Green has a black flag. He's made it back out on the track. 12 laps in arrears. He'll gain one spot on Brian Sharp. Mark Cofield has retired. Braden Langley is still in pit lane. So Donald Green, he's going to get out there. He can gain 4 more spots, or at least 3 more spots here. Joshua Siegfried, you were asking about repair. He was in his pit box for 1 minute and 9 seconds.
Yeah, he actually still has some left rear damage, but the car seems to be up to speed. We'll see how it handles in traffic, and he is still on the lead lap. I do want to give a shout out to Admin Box, a friend of mine, Brian Barkley, just received his. Thank you, Mike Rigney, for the reference, as well as Admin Box being a sponsor here. But Brian Barkley is enjoying getting used to his new tech hardware that he has attached to his admin table. So thank you, Admin Box.
Yeah, it's a neat piece of kit. It's definitely a neat piece of kit. If you're a race controller out there, or you own a league, those things are absolutely fabulous. Green flag is out. We're going to get the final stage started here, Sam. Haul it off into turn one more time. Dylan Godness did not pit under that caution, so he assumes the lead. Trevor Benz is second, Heaney third, Wasserman fourth, Lee Campbell fifth, Moquin O'Donohue, Milner.
They're together on the backstretch. Ted Craven in the wall. Gets into Sean Merriman.
They're still wrecking.
He's still wrecking.
I think Ted's trying to keep it up on the outside wall. Now he's going to get it down.
He gets it straight. That was right in front of the deuce of Greg Evans.
Yes, it was. Evans has gone all the way to the back. He had a little bit of... Evans was on pit lane 26.5 seconds. That tells me that...
he must have had right front damage from that contact with Joseph Klein.
Yeah, that would be my guess. And so Greg Evans took the opportunity to get that fixed. But there's the deuce. He's rolling back toward the front.
All right, man.
Caution is on the Speedway.
On the racetrack.
It's Joshua Siegfried.
Now we see... Yeah, it is Joshua. I was curious how the car was going to handle... I don't know that he was able to get everything repaired.
It appears as though loose off 2 would be the call to the crew chief on that one. Joshua Siegfried came off a 2 in a full 4-wheel drift, spun the car all the way down the backstretch. He did an amazing job one more time. But
he just didn't want to hit that wall. He started going out to the outside wall, and he was doing everything he could not to get any more damage to the body.
yes, he did, and there goes Joshua
Did a great job.
Siegfried. He doesn't hit anything, but he does stop on the racetrack. There comes Brian Sharp. He does avoid the accident, does Brian Sharp, but we're into caution one more time, and that's going to take us to halfway, Sam.
And that should. Well, Ted Craven was involved in this particular. No, he wasn't involved in this particular caution. So Ted Craven should be able to get our Lucky Dog Award for this particular.
Well, the problem is he's already
incident.
been. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. He was in his pit box when the caution came out.
Sorry?
Ted was in his pit box when the caution came out. He's already a minute and 20 seconds under repair. And there you see it. And he's
that would leave the door open for Braden Langley then. To
that
get his lap back.
would. Well, it wouldn't be Braden Langley. It would be. It would be
he's
Brian.
still on the pit lane.
Yeah, it would
Brian
be
Sharp, who was on the racetrack when the caution came out.
Yeah, it would be Brian Sharp. So Brian will get a chance to get a lap back. Meanwhile, there's the front of your field. Dylan Godnez is messing with the pace car, of course. Second place, Trevor Benz, Jason Heaney third, Brian Rosserman fourth. Christian Light is going to round out your top five. And there they are. We've still got, Sam, 17 cars on the lead lap. Troy Carricker remains on the pit lane. He is getting more damage repaired. I did not see Carricker involved in that, so he may still be
Prior incidents.
Brian Sharp did not win the tree pot, so it goes back to a quarter. And we'll see if we can't do better tomorrow night. We'll pay him off at the end for however many races he's able to go consecutively without finding the trees. It's we'll pay him a quarter a race. So that's the bounty, Brian, if you can avoid trouble.
I like it.
It's unfortunate. He was having a really good night. It's unfortunate for Ted Craven as well. He gets up, gets in the fence. He's got the meatball.
Shelby's asking about the tree pot.
Yeah, that's why I was going on about it. So it goes back to a quarter. He needs consecutive races. He needs consecutive races without striking trees. He hasn't been able to do it yet. So, but unfortunate for Brian Sharp. He's going to be out of this one. Well, not out of it. He's 12 laps down. He was 13 down, but now he's 12 down. But he has been. He was on pit road for almost 12 minutes. So. It's going to be interesting to me, Sam, as we head back toward the green flag. It's going to be interesting to me to see how long Dylan Godnez is able to maintain that lead on those older tires. Now, I would assume that everybody else, having gone a few laps under green there, my assumption would be that helps Dylan. Would that be accurate? To get a heat cycle in the tires, Sam?
Well, it could help Dylan. The likelihood is that it would not.
Copy that.
Really, in the long scheme of things, it probably would not help, especially as hard as Dylan has been driving the car tonight.
There we go. We're going to watch the restart from the top of the tower. That's where Mike Rigney likes it. Here we go back to green flag action. Dylan Godnez is going to get the drop on Trevor Benz. But I don't think that it's going to take very long for Trevor Benz.
Oh, Trevor is loose coming off, and he loses a little ground there to Dylan Godnez.
Yes, he does.
Now you got Nolan Milnes, who's looking inside of Ryan O'Donohue, and he's wanting to work his way up to the front. Now he pulls in behind Christian Light, and Michael Moquin is burying his number 8 into the top 5 as well. Kendall Paul is in the mix as with these other drivers, and now we find that he's probably got all of his damage fixed that he got earlier from the run-in with the wall, because he really did hit it square. I don't know that he was. I don't see any right front damage on the car anymore, so he's probably gotten it all fixed.
Yeah, we're going to take a zoom in on Kendall Paul just to give that a damage check. We're looking at the front of that Ford Mustang, and it appears to be back and straight for Kendall Paul. So everything.
I'm looking at Joshua Siegfried's car as well, and now looking at his, as extensive as the damage was on the left rear, it looks like the majority of that is fixed as well on the Joshua Siegfried car.
Yeah, Joshua Siegfried has gone back to the whip and gotten that car back in the top 10. He's running along in ninth. Do want to report that both Troy Carricker and Caleb Jones got a minute or more of repair under that last caution. Both of them remain on the lead lap. And so I know that Troy is looking at a long run, but he is back in 16th. We're watching here the battle for 7th and 8th.
This race is not over, though.
No, it's not.
It's a lot of racing left.
It most certainly is. We're watching Joshua Siegfried. He is battling Ryan O'Donohue. This is 7th, 8th. They've got Light and Greg Evans 9th and 10th behind him. Greg Evans, power move. He goes underneath Christian Light. He's going to go underneath Ryan O'Donohue. Greg Evans is going to get 2 for the price of 1 and draw a beat on Joshua Siegfried as we head down into turn 1.
Greg's sitting on those 4 fresh good years, and he knows that he's fast, and he knows that he's got pace, so he's working his way up methodically.
Yes, he is. There you see the deuce. Meanwhile, that's kind of moved Joshua Siegfried into gear. He drops it underneath Michael Moquin. Nolan Milnes is going to get out of the way of Greg Evans. I think he saw that train coming down the tracks. So he's going to move high, get out of the way. Meanwhile, Siegfried...
That opens the door for Ryan O'Donohue when he comes through. Now he's actually losing positions here. Nolan Milnes is dropping.
We saw O'Donohue go through. The road is blocked for Evans, but maybe not for long. Meanwhile, Jason Heaney has taken the lead from Trevor Benz. Dylan Godnez, those old tires are starting to show up. He is back to 3rd, and he is going to start losing positions, as they would say in the Great Racing documentary Stroker Race, in wholesale fashion. God rest his soul, I can hear Chris Economaki today uttering that line. Wholesale fashion.
Bill Connell at the Charlotte Motor Speedway has to be one of my favorite announcers of all time. Hands down. Chris Economaki, Mike Joy. I really like Mike Joy. There's been some great announcers and broadcasters in racing, but when it comes to a racetrack announcer, Bill Connell at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I don't know that there was another announcer that could get you on your feet as quick as Bill Connell could. He was amazing at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Now, is that the one that Burt Reynolds took to the stage and said, "All right, I've got him up now. You entertain him"?
Bill Connell was actually he was in the movie The Great American Hero with Jeff Bridges.
Is that right?
He was one of the crew members.
Great American. That's the one. That's the one about Junior Johnson, right? Or is that the last?
Junior Johnson.
So
the last American Hero.
The last American Hero. We're getting off into the weeds talking about Junior Johnson and Bill Connell, Burt Reynolds, and Chris Economaki. And so if you wanted a history lesson in the stock car racing, talk to Sam Crow. That man knows everything.
No, you're the history nut. Honestly, you probably know more NASCAR history than I do. I just know the things that I remember that I liked. I try to forget the things I didn't like.
Oh no, we're going to be 3 wide. Evan's going to be 3 wide.
Oh no, Brian Wasserman.
He didn't know where to go. He didn't know where to go. He was the monkey in the middle, and he looked to his left. You know, if you look around the poker table, Sam, and you don't know who the sucker is, you're it. He looked to his left, looked to his right, and said, "I'm done." Backed way out of that.
Now we've got a battle up here, and there's a lot of racing going on. With Michael Moquin is trying to make the pass. Trevor Benz is trying to maintain speed. Dylan Godnez is not done. He's lost a couple of positions, but he's working his way back up.
Ben's going to get hung up on the outside. That's going to put Greg Evans to the inside, going into 3. Put Evans back to 4th. He'll take a look at the backside of Dylan Godnez now, and try to see if he can't get to 3rd. We're watching the deuce as he battles his way.
There's a lot of chatter going on in the server right now. There's a lot of chatter, more than usual. Usually these races are quiet, but there seems to be a lot of chatter going on tonight.
You know, I can understand that, Sam, given that it's gotten pretty wild. It's gotten wild and argy-bargy at times, with some of these guys making moves 3 and sometimes 4 wide here at Texas. Evans is going to get through on the bottom past Godnez, move him to 3rd, Moquin 2nd, Jason Heaney, though, has checked out. He's got a 3/4 of a second lead over Moquin, and it's a full second back to Greg Evans.
And something I really appreciate that we're noticing in the server now is that the humidity has dropped considerably. The percentage of humidity has dropped, and so now we have such a clear view of the racetrack.
Yes, we can go to the longer camera shots, friends, because it is no longer foggy. There you see it, 73 degrees in the air. The track temperature has risen precipitously to 106, but the humidity is down to 77. And so the drivers are no longer driving in soup. And the track is just about in perfect shape here. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, he likes it. He's going to go look toward the top as we get in the grandstand. He was looking at the top of Michael Moquin. I don't know that he's going to be behind Moquin for much longer.
Well, he's got into a position now where he can pace himself a little bit more differently than what you would in traffic. He may not be pushing the car quite as hard as he was. He knows that there's at least one more stop if it stays green, as we see Michael Moquin get a little bit dancy with that outside wall coming off of 2, and that makes an easy pass for Evans, and now that will just leave Jason Heaney.
Yeah, that's going to leave Jason Heaney in the lead.
Right.
We'll follow that. I did cut back because from 6th place Ryan O'Donoghue back to 11th place Christian Light, they were all varying degrees, Sam, of side by side with one another. And so I did jump back to that because this group is the best fight on the racetrack. Troy Carricker, by the way, has moved it up to 14th place. He's doing that same kind of thing he did before, Sam, where he...
And it worked for him at the beginning of the race. It will work for him now. It will work. His patience, I believe his patience will pay off if he just keep running his race. I believe that it will work in his favor.
He was running. I glanced up. Troy was running laps in the 34-second range not too long ago, and now he's right on pace with the cars around him. But he was almost, I mean, I don't want to say caution car speed, but he was traveling very slowly. We've got Wasserman and Benz. Moquin to the infield. We got to go back and watch Michael Moquin here. Michael Moquin went through the grass, racing with Dylan Godnez. But that's the replay that's on the board here. 84 laps to go. Michael Moquin got a little bit free coming off of turn number 4. He takes it to the grass. He does not maintain his position, unlike the pass in the grass, which wasn't a pass.
Right. And now there's still quite a bit of chippiness in the chat, and I think that the administrators have actually just the guys to calm down at this particular point.
You know, and I know that Brian Sharp is one of those administrators. He can use his admin box to disable that chat function if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, you just hit car 125 mute, and they are no longer able to speak. And so you can mute all with that thing. You can advance the session. You can set caution laps. You can replay. Mine has replay controls on it. It's a neat piece of kit. Meanwhile, the fight continues, but just to correct the record, Sam, the pass in the grass, as big of an Earnhardt fan as I am, the pass in the grass
not actually a pass.
It was not actually a pass. The pass in the grass occurred at Riverside, not at Charlotte. Same year, wrong track. Whoa, Dylan Godnez is sideways.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
And he is running through the infield right now.
Yep, Dylan Godnez and Michael Moquin came to grief coming off of turn number 4. Here you see it. We're going to get...
Wow, that is so close.
Yeah, we're going to get on board with Michael Moquin. This is...
So close.
Yeah, this is from...
This is just clearly they're just close racing right here. I don't know that you could pin this on any one driver. It's just that they're just extremely close here.
And that's right at where the car is at its maximum load coming off the corner. It's
Yes,
where
sir.
it's at its lightest. And to be fair, you could push one of these cars around with your hand right there. So Dylan Godinez goes for a ride through the grass. He doesn't hit anything. He'll come in. He'll get a
No,
new.
no.
Yeah, he'll come in. He'll get a fresh he'll get a fresh set of
Oh,
boots.
he was running on the older set of tires anyway. He may come in here and just be happy as a lark. He has no damage, and he'll get a fresh set of shoes, and he can run his way up through the field.
Yeah, I mean, new Goodyears will cure that. I don't see any other damage on the machine. He didn't hit the wall or anything. He did lose a little bit of track position, but not too bad. The problem for Dylan
No,
is
no, he's doing good.
the problem for Dylan is going to be everybody is going to come to the pit lane. Not just Dylan Godinez, but everybody is going to come to the pit lane. So he's going to lose some track position, but probably not
They
much
can't
else.
make it here on fuel, though. I
No.
want to tell you, they will not be able to make it on fuel.
No, they won't be able to make it on fuel, nor do I think they would want to, even if they could.
Well, the tires would, they'd be running around on rims, it would feel like. I think Donald Green's going to stay out on the track and see if he can get a wave around.
Yes, he is. Here is the end of the pit lane. Do want to just go back to my pass in the grass harangue, Sam. There was a pass in the grass by Earnhardt on Bill Elliott, but it wasn't at Charlotte and the Winston. It was at Riverside later that year, where they got bunched up in the S's, and Earnhardt just ran the car through the grass, made the S's straight. But that was
Earnhardt actually passed.
or was it Jeff Bodine passed
Martin.
doing that?
Was it Jeff Bodine or Mark Martin?
I think it might have been Jeff Bodine. I know Bill Elliott was involved in that one too, but I want to say
That was coming right off the straightaway and going into the S's, and then he just blows right past Jeff Bodine.
yeah. But there was a pass in the grass. It just wasn't.
There was
at
no
Charlotte.
grass. There was no grass there. It was all dirt.
Well, Southern California, the grass dies. That always wigs me out when they would go to do testing at Sonoma or Laguna Seca, and they go out there in like March, and the grass is green.
Donald Green's
And
going to get the drive around here. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, that's okay. It always wigs me out when you go to see when you see like pictures of preseason testing at Sonoma or Laguna Seca. We're not used to seeing grass at those facilities because it's usually dead by the time cars get there. But there are pictures. You go look at Sonoma in March, and the hills are lush and green, and it's gorgeous, Sam. And then they go to race there in July, and there's it's dirt.
Everything's dead.
Everything's dead.
I
yeah.
used to back in the N2K3 days. I used to love to race the Trans Am Corvettes there. It was just so much fun at Riverside. What a great racetrack!
Yeah, I mean, there's a game out there that is a Papyrus game, which iRacing has its roots in the Papyrus NASCAR games, but there's one out there that was came out at the same time as Grand Prix Legends called NASCAR Legends. And if anybody from iRacing is listening, if you could dig up the code to that game and give us Riverside, Ontario, Greenville, Pickens,
Yeah,
that would,
agreed.
That would be terrific.
Green flag.
Agreed.
Flag.
Especially if you're going to run the legacy cars like the Buick and the Pontiac 2+2. If you're going to run those cars in the '87 Monte Carlo, then bring those tracks back. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I'm sure they'd have to do a lot of coding, but if they can get the Coca-Cola Speedway, which is the iRacing Speedway off of NASCAR 2000, off of NASCAR Racing 4, they could most certainly give us those tracks from NASCAR Legends, because NASCAR Legends and Grand Prix Legends and NASCAR 4 are all the same coding.
Right. Now we have Greg Evans going to the lead as he passes Jason Heaney, and if you pay close attention right now, a familiar car, the 08, has decided he is going to push to the front.
Yes, he is.
So watch for the weight of Dylan Godinez to work his way up here into the top 5 very quickly.
He is. There's Dylan Godinez. He's right in front of Nolan Milnes. He's looking at Ryan O'Donohue. Meanwhile, Michael Moquin and Joshua Siegfried have continued their battle. That's going to bring in Jason Heaney. And you can see those cars kind of behind the scoring pylon up there. We'll get the camera on Ryan O'Donohue, which will bring these cars into frame. That is second through fourth. Moquin, big loose off of 2. There goes Ryan O'Donohue. He's going to run to the high side. Let's see if O'Donohue can make the move for fourth.
Yeah, we've not seen too many passes out here on the outside. He's still there.
He is still there. And there he goes.
Tendency is when you get too high in 3 and 4, the more throttle you give the car, the more it just wants to throw it out toward the wall. Even with all the grip you have, it just when you're that high, for some reason it just really wants to, all that momentum wants to just move the car outside a lot further than you want it to go.
It does, Sam, and again, it's amazing how much the track falls away from you over there at the exit of 2, and how much grip you seemingly lose on exit. Again, especially if you're coming off the high side. In the open wheel car, you battle issues with tools, because the tools you need to run the top are vastly different from the bottom, and so you'll see guys get caught out. Too much or too little weight jack, or too much too little rear or front anti-roll bar. Meanwhile, Jason Heaney, he's going to drop to the bottom of Greg Evans. What
we've seen is that just a handful of laps earlier, Joshua Siegfried's car was dented, mashed, and banged up from a spin coming off of turn 2, and now he's taking the lead from Greg Evans, and Jason Heaney wants to get in the middle of this fight as well.
Yeah, Jason Heaney has moved it into third. Meanwhile, I want to go back and check in on our man Troy Carricker, who was running the smart strategy. He's made it to 12th, and there's Troy, and he's looking at Brian Wasserman in 11th. He is running just about the same speed as Joshua Siegfried. So he's on the pace that he wants to run, Sam. We're going to keep going back to that one. Meanwhile, the battle at the front rages. Siegfried leads it. Evans second.
I still think that Troy's run a smart race here.
Yeah,
I really do.
Well, he's the only one that's proven that he's been able to really, Sam,
his
run that pace.
His long run speed is as good as anyone's.
Yeah, he's been the only one that's proven he can pace himself and be disciplined over that long run. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead. Greg Evans drew right up on the back of Joshua Siegfried. Thought better of it going into turn 3.
Greg gets an incredible amount of speed going through 3 and 4. He's able to get back into the throttle a lot quicker.
Yes, he is. We do want to thank Shelby Carricker one more time for the Super Chats. We do want to thank all of our fans for watching, but those Super Chats do certainly hit the spot for Sam and I, so thank you so much for those. We are 69 laps to go.
We are a little bit sorry that we're cutting in on our COD time.
Probably. You guys play Call of Duty. It was kind of funny.
Now we see the 8 of Michael Moquin get into the wall coming off of 4. It wasn't too much contact, but enough to unsettle the car.
It was light. I would love, and I don't know, I'm sure you've been around Call of Duty. My oldest son has just now started to pick up like the tablet, like paintball versions of Call of Duty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a paintball version that they have on like...
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, like on Google Kids or something. Picked it up. But it's fairly interesting. I want to point out that I would love some of the online players of today to go back and play like the original Call of Duty PlayStation 2 games from the early 2000s. I think that would be awesome, don't you, Sam?
Well, you're talking to the guy that was actually going around and traveling and playing in Quake and Unreal tournaments back in the day.
Oh, come
I
on now,
was-
Sam. We're talking about playing Call of Duty. You were
I
actually
know, but
you
when
were
it comes to
actually part of
first-person
the.
shooters, I
But,
was one of those guys that went around and traveled and played in Quake tournaments.
but
It was a lot of fun.
but you were probably one of those guys. I thought you were part of the group that stormed Omaha Beach back in the day.
Now, I have played my fair share of Battlefield 1942.
I was almost. I was.
Which is probably one of my favorite Battlefield versions.
So I do enjoy the first person shooter games. I was always much more into the strategy side. So Civilization, Axis versus Allies, things like that.
Oh, okay.
I need to. I'm due for a new PC, and when I get those, I am definitely going to be taking Civ 7 out for a spin. I only do the I only do the odd Civilization. So I have the original Civ, Civ 3, Civ 5.
Oh, Dylan Godnez. Now, that was not light contact. He hits the wall incredibly hard off of 4, and that gets the pack closing in around him behind him as Ryan O'Donoghue and Trevor Vians close the gap. He gathers it back up, but man, what contact he hit off that turn 4 wall.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and watch it. There's the 0-8 of Dylan Godnez. He's gonna wallop. Is that the right
Wow.
word, Sam? Wallop.
Wallop is definitely a southern term, and it fits perfectly. And now we see Michael Moquin take
Bam.
a piece of the turn 4 wall.
Yeah, they've decided it's time to go, and that contact for Moquin, well, that just draws the freshly pancaked machine of Dylan Godness right to his rear, and Ryan O'Donoghue, he's there. He doesn't want to miss this either.
Ryan has shown such patience tonight. I think Ryan is begging for a long run. He has shown a lot of patience tonight, even when drivers seem to be slowing down in front of him. He's been very purposeful about riding it out, not making unnecessary moves, a lot of steering wheel input. I wonder if he's really pushing to have that long run speed tonight, and he's just not had the opportunity with the way the cautions have fallen.
Speaking of walloping walls, Kendall Paul hit it hard earlier. He's up to 7.
He did.
He's looking at Ryan O'Donoghue for 6 there.
Ryan's not going to give up a lot of fight here. He's not battling people very hard tonight. Like I said, I think he's really wanting to see how the long run plays out. Now we see Troy Carricker's actually moved up to 11th as he begins to eye the top 10.
And there's Troy. He's under the watchful eye of Shelby here as her Call of Duty
Our
updates.
leaders are nose to tail.
Sean Merriman
Greg
just
Evans, Joshua Siegfried, and Jason Heaney.
Sean Merriman just smacked the wall a little bit coming off a turn 2, so it claims another victim. But Troy Carricker last time through 32.157. Trevor Benz in 10th, 32.437. So the long run speed for Troy Carricker is paying off in spades. He's looking now at the back of Trevor Benz. We'll keep you posted on Carricker. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for second. Here comes Jason Heaney. He's going to look to the inside of Joshua Siegfried.
And what this is going to do is it's going to open the door for Greg Evans to start pulling away as these two begin to race for this position. Joshua concedes it. As they begin to catch lap traffic, Donald Green is up ahead of the leader here, and Donald Green's actually calling out for the leader and wanting to know where he wants him.
Yes, he has. Do want to point out, Donald Green has made up, and there's Donald. We're going to show him as the field files through. When he was involved in his accident, Donald Green was 23rd. He's now 17th, and he's 1 lap behind, 2 laps on the scoreboard, 1 lap naturally behind Brian Sharp, because Sharp's going to be lapped here very shortly as well, and go back to 12 down. But Donald Green, just by virtue of circulating, has made up 5 spots.
That's just what determination will get you. A lot of drivers just wouldn't see the point in getting out here and making laps when you're 12 and 13 laps down after repairs. But With attrition, you can make up positions and get. Oh, and he gets into the wall. Oh, and Sean Merriman gets into the back of him. When he hits the wall, he slows up so much. They're able to keep their car straight, but what contact! Sean Merriman may very well have front end damage after that.
He may. We're gonna see if we can't get Sean Merriman here and get a replay just of what's befallen him. Merriman all the way to the top of the racetrack there. I'm assuming the contact has already. There we go. So here's Sean Merriman in the 18. Donald Green was doing everything he could to stay high and stay out of the way, and he's doing the right thing. Merriman comes off the corner. He's behind Troy Carricker. Green hits the wall. He slows up, and Merriman just clouts him right in the back. Donald Green does a great job of saving the car, but you're right, Sam. There is damage on the 18 for certain sure.
Ooh, and now we have Michael Moquin in the wall off of 4 as he's trying to let Kendall Paul go by. There's some good racing going on from 5th on back here.
There is, Sam. So,
and now Troy Carricker has just got to the back of Trevor Beans coming off of 2.
And there he is. He's in the background.
See how quickly he wants to make this pass. Trevor Beans gives him the bottom.
And there goes Troy Carricker.
He'll make. And now, guess what? Troy Carricker's in the top 10.
He is. We'll get on the roof of Troy Carricker because he's going to have to make up some ground on the battle that rages in front of him. But Troy Carricker has proven that he's been able to save tires through this event. He's also proven he's got the discipline to do that, and I don't suspect he's going to be 1.3 seconds behind for very long. He seems to have got the fuse lit on that 94, and he has already closed 0.2 of a second on.
And the further you move up through the top 10, more challenging those passes get. Because even though he may be having a good pace and he may have a lot of tire left, it doesn't mean that these drivers in front of him are pushovers. And so nothing's going to be given to him. He'll earn it.
No, they do.
Because
they do fight
every
you
pass
harder.
in the top 10 now is going to be a tough pass.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, as you can see, where Wassman is trying to work around Ryan O'Donohue, Nolan Milnes is back there watching to see if he can make up any ground. Dylan Godinez is trying to make his way back up in the top 5 again. There's a lot of action going on from 5th on back.
So we do have a chat in a chat in here from Mike. He says with me is that referencing both you two going around and playing in different tournaments?
We actually played some Quake together, but if I'm not mistaken, back in the day we played some.
But yeah, I was always much more of a strategy guy, so I like the tabletop games more than the.
I think the only strategy one that I enjoyed the most was Code Red. I played a lot of Code Red.
I'll give you one that I played back in the day that you will.
And World of Warcraft, I have played my fair share of World of Warcraft.
I'll give you one back in the day that you're gonna think I'm nuts. It was a DoD game called Harpoon, which was a tabletop Navy simulation game. It's how Tom Clancy mapped out the Hunt for Red October.
Nice.
I used to play that when I was 8, 9, 10 years old because I'm a weirdo.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I used to do that. There was a Civil War game that was really interesting. That was kind of the same mechanics as Civilization that I used to play. But I've always been more on the strategy side. Rigney says that it's Battlefield that you two played together.
Oh, yeah. We played tons of Battlefield. Oh, he's talking about Battlefield 1942. That's what he's talking about. I couldn't remember if we played Quake together or not, but I know we played a lot of Battlefield together.
Do want to kind of go through the field to reset it for us. There's Greg Evans.
I had a little circle of friends.
Yeah,
we go off and do those things with.
There's Greg Evans. He's your leader by 1.3 seconds over this man, Jason Heaney. Joshua Siegfried is running in the 3rd position, so he's got the low step of the podium nailed down. Kendall Paul was all over the fence earlier. He's got it fixed. He's back in 4th. Michael Moquin likewise has had damage to the veteran militia machine. He runs along in 5th. Dylan Godness has led the race tonight, but there he is in 6th. Brian Wasserman, Mexican Pale Ale is 7th. Dos Equis, of course. Nolan Milnes rides right behind him, and it looks like he'd like a Dos Equis. He's in 8th. Ryan O'Donohue, I know, would like a Dos Equis. He is in 9th. And Troy Carricker is going to round out your top 10. In 11th, Trevor Binns. He's been toward the front, as has Eric Corder. Lee Campbell has had an interesting night with speeding penalties, but he runs 13th. Sean Merriman has fallen well off the pace in 14th in the final car on the lead lap. Christian Light, who at times tonight has been worth the price of admission. We're going to get back to this battle. Nolan Milnes has now gone past Brian Wasserman, so put Milnes up to 7th. O'Donohue is 9th. Wasserman 8th. And if I'm not mistaken, Sam, that's Donald Green coming off the pit lane, so never mind. He's come in for a new.
Now, I was wondering if some people might be short pitting at this particular juncture as well.
Yeah, so
you may see that. You may see some drivers that'll short pit.
Yeah, so that was what I was just going to mention to you, Sam. Is, we've been 33 laps out here. You can make it to the end.
We see Wasserman will be a taker. He's in the lottery, as well as Kendall Paul.
Yeah, there's Kendall. There's Brian Wasserman. So they've decided they're going to roll the dice.
They're going to dictate what other drivers do from this point forward.
Now everybody that's on the track now, they're going to be watching the stopwatch. If you're Jason Heaney, Greg Evans, Joshua Siegfried, you are absolutely gonna be watching to see what the cars of Kendall Paul and Brian Wasserman do when they come back on the track.
Pit lane. Oh, and he almost loses it. Wow, the back of that car came around.
Let's see it, Sam.
77 Eric Corder is coming in on his pit stop. Eric has run a steady, quiet race tonight. Stayed on the lead lap, running his race. Kudos to Eric Corder tonight.
Ooh, that was a lot of fun for Joshua Siegfried getting that car on the pit road. So
that was a handful.
Yeah, like I was saying, so if you're Greg Evans and you're running along leading this thing, you're going to want to be paying attention to what Kendall Paul, Brian Wasserman, Joshua Siegfried, some of these cars that have pitted now, you're going to want to take a look at what they do lap time wise when they come off. When they come off that pit lane. Here's Kendall Paul. We're going to put the telemetry up. We're going to watch Kendall Paul as he navigates the Texas Motor Speedway. This is going to be his first lap on those new tires. Now, it's going to take him, three laps for these things to be in their prime working condition?
Optimum heat in the tires, right. At least 2 laps to get optimum heat and build up. The air pressure's built up. So it'll be a little dicey for these first couple of laps, but Kendall's a veteran. He knows how to run this racetrack, and he'll be able to run pace.
Yes, he does. Now, lap 1, the verdict is in. Greg Evans, 32.436. Jason Heaney, 32.616. Kendall Paul, 31.371. So
just a full second faster.
Yeah, so if you're Greg Evans and Jason Heaney, you're going to be looking at that in your black boxes.
Oh, Trevor Benz, big time in the wall behind Kendall Paul.
31.112 that time for Kendall Paul, 32.405 for the leader. So if you're Greg Evans and Jason Heaney, you want to be mindful of this and understand that these guys are coming, and you don't want to stay out too long.
Oh, of course not. No, of course not. But if you've built up a lead like Greg Evans, sometimes you want to run it as long as you can, and then the shorter the run, the more pace that you're going to be able to put into those tires. But we have found out after 15 laps, if you really push those tires as hard as you can push them for 15 laps, they equalize out very fast.
One of the things I do want to point out is just how smooth Greg Evans is. Watch here on the onboard for the fans at home. Right down on the white line, smooth on the throttle. He is not drifting the car off the corner. Straight down the dog leg. No moments there. Just very smooth. It almost, as you watch this, it almost looks slow to the eye, but it's anything but, Sam.
Thing that's always piqued my interest about Greg Evans racing is his throttle control.
Yeah.
It just amazes me the patience that he has with that right foot, and the awareness of when and how much to apply in the corner, or how long to stay off of the throttle. A lot of what you see for fast drivers who are able to get the most out of their tires and make speed are the ones that can master that throttle control. And I will say, I'm not one of those guys, but Greg Evans, even sitting watching him race, I will tell you, it's amazing his feel for throttle control. It makes such a difference in this sim.
Yeah, I would be willing to wager that if we took a look at his telemetry, it would look very much like a bell curve on the throttle. Mine, well, it looks like an EKG, Sam. Meanwhile, Troy Carricker has pulled his machine onto pit road, so he surrenders the 7th spot to come and get tires. That would leave 7. Evans, Godinez, Milnes, Moquin, O'Donohue, Light, and Heaney are the automobiles that have not yet pitted. Everybody else behind them is at some various and odd differential.
Oh, Michael Moquin uses up every bit of the free racetrack to get into the pit lane. If anyone was trying to prove they're trying to get the most out of their pit stop, it's Michael Moquin. He just didn't get it woed down.
Well, and there's Nolan Milnes in the front of you, just to give him a guide. And look at how hot Michael Moquin. He closed up 15 car
all
lengths.
of it out.
Yes, he was. He closed up 10, 15 car lengths in there. But cars that have not pitted, Christian Light, Ryan O'Donohue, Dylan Godinez, and the leader, Greg Evans. Kendall Paul has nearly unlapped himself. That's how much faster he is than Greg Evans right now. Evans last time through 32.489. Kendall Paul 31.193. So nearly over 1.3 seconds.
We're down to 35 laps to go in the event.
34.
Laps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see who's going to be the last taker of tires. I've just typically, if you're building up a lead and you know that you have long green flag speed like Greg Evans or some of these others, then the tendency is to stay out as long as you feel comfortable, at least until you see the first pit stop cars coming and catching you.
Kendall Paul wanted his lap back, and he got it, but those two cars were both very free coming off of turn number 4. I'm of the opinion that if I've got the lead like that, I'm going to run it dead for a couple of reasons. He's got Greg Evans, meaning he. But Greg Evans has most of the field trapped a lap down right now. Wasserman goes by. There's only 6 cars left on the lead lap. And so if you're Greg Evans, why not run it out for that reason? The other is that Kendall Paul is now, and Brian Wasserman are now working at lap 12 of their fresh tires. So those guys, yeah, they're gonna have the advantage here briefly, but they're not gonna have it for very long. The other thing is with Kendall Paul just now unlapping himself. At this point, I don't know that Greg Evans is going to lose a lap. He would go to the tail end of the lead lap if he stops. And so maybe that's the thought. I might get a caution. If I don't get a caution, I won't be a lap down, and then I'm going to be the rabbit with everybody else hanging on.
Well, even if there's a caution comes out now, he's golden because he'll pit in the lead, come out in the lead, and then if he pits, like you said, there's a good possibility he will not go a lap down, but he will probably be in the 7th, 8th position, but he'll have way fresher tires than the leaders. But those leaders can't come back in and get fresh tires.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
In the event that there might be a caution.
Yeah, that's the thing is, if you're Greg Evans, you want to see this thing play out completely to the end. Cars shot out of a cannon. How about Troy Carricker? He's moved back to 11th. He's running down Eric Quarter now. Quarter 6 laps older on the tires, and it's worth about a tenth of a second a lap at that point.
Yep.
And so
Here comes Greg Evans. Here he comes.
Yep, here comes Greg Evans. Get it woed down. Don't speed on pit road now. He gets it in. We're going to go back to Carricker because
And Dylan Godinez will follow suit.
Godinez follows suit. That's going to leave Ryan O'Donohue out. Is O'Donohue going to pit? O'Donohue does not pit. So Ryan O'Donohue will assume the lead here. He's going to go for lap 50.
Is there a lap lead bonus here in the AMA?
I cannot recall. I believe
Some leagues will give a bonus point for a lap lead. Just curious about that.
I believe there is, Sam. I believe there is.
Because here comes Ryan O'Donohue now.
And
He's
that
coming down the pit lane.
he is. That would leave Christian.
Ooh, he better get it rolled down. And he does. He gets it rolled down. That's good. Good.
He does. So the last car not to pit is Christian Light. He's going to come get 28 to go. Christian Light has been out a period of time such that Kendall Paul is only a second and a half behind him. So Christian Light may have stayed too long based on his track position, because there's Kendall Paul, and that is a battle for position here. Once he pits, everybody, it will be back to status quo. Kendall Paul will be your leader from Brian Wasserman, Joshua Siegfried, Jason Heaney, Nolan Milnes, Troy Carricker, Michael Mulquin, Trevor Benz, and Eric Quarter. Greg Evans did come out on the lead lap. He is 11.8 seconds back.
Right.
He is on rails, but he is buried. He's trying to get around Trevor Benz.
He's really got a lot of cars to pass. A lot of cars to pass to get back up here. But with fresh rubber, I mean, he's got 10 lap pressure tires.
Oh, it's a lot more than that. Kendall Paul is on lap 18 of his tires. Christian Light still does not pit. He's been out 53 laps now. Brian Wasserman is 19 laps. Siegfried 18. Heaney 11. Nolan Milnes 10. Carricker 12. Moquin 10. Evans 3. So that's the tire situation.
Now he's catching. Troy Carricker has worked his way up to 7th spot now.
Yeah, and that's effectively 6, remember, because Christian Light still has to pit. Light still has not done so. Meanwhile,
well, balance and checks because Greg Evans is coming, so there'll be balances and checks.
checks and. Well, he's got to get by Michael Moquin first.
Michael Moquin's going to be fighting for this spot too.
Yes, he is. So there goes Moquin to the bottom.
Well, Carricker
to the top.
Just taking air to caution here and just gets out of the way of these faster cars.
That's the 7-10 split for Greg Evans. He shoots right up the middle, and claims 2 for the price of 1. Move him to 7th. The issue for Evans, though, is this. The next car is Nolan Milnes, and Nolan Milnes is 2.5 seconds up the road.
And our leader is still ahead of Evans. He's still 8 seconds, but Greg has made up 3 seconds in just the last 2 laps.
Yeah, it's down to 7 seconds now. Looking at Joshua Siegfried, he and Jason Heaney were going after it. Heaney wins the battle. He'll go to 3rd. Siegfried to 4th. Christian Light is, I don't know about this now. I mean, he's got to be praying for a caution. Christian Light is about 2 seconds a lap off the pace. 56 laps now he's completed. Greg Evans is going to gobble him up in pretty short order. But Evans made up another 1.2 seconds that last time by. And
he's rolling.
Yeah,
he is rolling.
He's coming. There's the deficit to Nolan Milnes now. You could not see Milnes a couple of laps ago.
No, Greg was still in 3 and 4 when Nolan Milnes was crossing the start-finish line, and now they're in the same frame together. Yeah.
There's the gap to 5th. Evans the last time through 30.949 to a 31.746 for Milnes, 32.167 for the leader. Greg Evans now 4.5 seconds back. He's going to go by Milnes. That's a thank you very much. You go right on ahead with those fresh tires, sir. Nolan Milnes pulls out of the way, and then he's got another, just 0.7 of a second up to Joshua Siegfried. And that's 15 laps difference on tires, too. Siegfried, one of the early adopters, along with Wasserman and Paul. So his tires are 15 laps older than those on the 2 machine.
You feel like Superman when the circumstances are like this. Greg Evans probably feels like he's got nitro in the car.
Yeah, and what you don't want, you want this thing, if you're the driver of the Deuce, you want this thing to play out. You do not want a caution flag. You want this thing to stay green. 3.2
Yeah, and he really
seconds.
doesn't have to. He really doesn't have to overdrive the car either, simply because there's 20 laps to go. So he's already proved that he can make up time by pushing the car. But I mean, he's well within a window here where he can catch the leaders, especially with 18 lap fresher tires.
Yeah, he was 1.3 seconds quicker than Wasserman through the clock, through the timing and scoring the last time. He'll pull it underneath Wasserman, and there goes Greg Evans. He's going to streak into 3rd place.
And I think Christian Light finally has conceded that he's going to be.
Yeah, he does, and that's going to cost him a ton of time. My guess is he's going to go 2 laps down, Sam.
Oh, and he gets sideways on entry. Oh, he tried to get it slowed down at the last moment, and he turns sideways. Now he's going to lose even more time on this pit stop.
And
I hate that.
And that could be something as simple as the tires are so hot and so worn. He didn't account for that with the brake bias, and around she went. You could see the rear tires locking up. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case on the Boulder Crest Foundations machine. But at least it occurred on pit road, so no caution. We continue to roll. We're going to pick up the battle with Greg Evans and Jason Heaney, which hasn't been much of a battle. Evans going to go to second. Kendall Paul is next up, and Evans was 0.7 of a second quicker that last lap than Kendall Paul. Anyway, a slice at 3 more laps, and Greg Evans is going to be leading and pulling away here.
Yep. And then Dylan Godness actually pitted with Greg Evans, and so now he's making the pass on Troy Carricker for 7th position.
Well, it'd actually be 8th because
Okay.
I don't believe they have passed. Have they been scored past? They have been scored past Christian
Yeah,
Light.
8th and 9th, right.
Right.
Dylan
Moquin has
Godness
fallen all the
moves
way
to
back
8th.
to 7th, yeah.
And that will leave Trevor Beans, and I don't know if he has the pace.
He does not. Now, Ryan O'Donohue is the other car that you might want to keep an eye on. Here goes Greg Evans. He's going to grab the lead. You've also got Christian Light. He's trying to get his
Christian
lap
Light is
back.
he's on fresh tires.
Yeah, he's trying to get his lap back. Ryan O'Donohue would be the other car, to maybe take a look at. He's on 12-lap-old tires, but he is 19 seconds behind the leader. Now, if you're Greg Evans, do you pull over and let Christian Light go, or do you want the clean air here?
Absolutely. He's 2 laps down, so why would he want him to even be a factor here? You just let him go.
And there's the move that Sam pointed out.
There's no sense in letting someone who's so eager to get their lap back even be a potential part in how the race finishes out. So you let them go and then run your pace. What a great job by Kendall Paul. It looks like that his his short pit strategy is going to work out because he's worked his way all the way up to 2nd place tonight. What good strategy that's really worked in his favor. Jason Heaney has been so steady all night long. I've been impressed with how he's approached the race. I've said that earlier in the broadcast, and I stick with what I was saying. Jason Heaney has really impressed me with his mindset and how he's wanted to race the race.
Same for Nolan Milnes. I mean, he's been very quiet, an uncharacteristically quiet race for Nolan Milnes, but he's made his way up to 4th. And Brian Wasserman, that's a name that we haven't called out a lot in the top 5. Up at the 57, he's right there. Joshua Siegfried has had an up and down day, but he's
had an eventful night tonight. He has really had an eventful night.
It has been, but Dylan
Godness has time to catch Joshua Siegfried. He has time to catch him.
Yes, he does, and he's half a second a lap quicker So there's Godinez. Michael Moquin is 8th. He's had his trials and tribulations. Troy Carricker has been the right side of that 94 up a couple of times, but he runs 9th. That has been the long run special, and he is quicker than Moquin, so we'll keep an eye on that. Trevor Benz rounds out your top 10. We have not spoken a word about Lee Campbell other than to inform the fans that he got a speeding ticket earlier. He runs along in 11th. Eric Quarter.
He and Eric Quarter have been steady workhorses all night long. They've run their race. They've run it their way. They've been right there a lot together tonight. They've been steady. They stayed on the lead lap. They've really just had good events. In my opinion, I think it's a good night for those drivers.
Yes, it is. And then the last car on the lead lap, this man, Ryan O'Donohue, he's got the freshest tires of anybody. He pitted 17 laps ago, and so he's got 2 laps fresher tires than Godinez and Evans, but too far back. 20 seconds for Ryan O'Donohue in the Whataburger machine. But he's still got a chance to make up some spots. That's Campbell and Quarter battling for 10th and 11th up there. He could make it up there to get to those drivers.
Oh, he's 7/10 faster than Lee Campbell on that lap alone.
Yes, he is. The Campbell and Quarter deal, and there's Dylan Godinez. I take it back. He's going to get by. Dylan Godinez is going to get by Joshua Siegfried. So move Godinez into 6th, Siegfried to 7th. Trevor Benz has either glitched out or ejected from the number 3. And so Benz is no longer being scored, at least on my side.
I know he's not being scored on my side either.
So a tough break.
He is still showing in the server, but his quality, his latency has dropped completely out. His quality has dropped almost completely out.
So that could be a mechanical issue for Trevor Benz. Meanwhile, so that would be another spot, I believe, for Christian Light, who has now moved to 13th. And Christian Light, by the way, has passed Sean Merriman. So if the caution flies, Christian Light's going to get the lucky dog. He's going to be in
Trevor
business.
Benz is now showing 2 laps down. So
yeah, he's not in the car any longer. But this man is the toast of Texas.
He's off the server.
Yeah, this man is the toast of Texas. Greg Evans, he's pulling up on the back of Sean Merriman. Easy does it. 2.3 seconds out of Kendall Paul. With 7 laps to go, it appears to be taillights for everybody else.
Time to get the cowboy hat and the 6-shooters.
Well, don't give him the cowboy hat and the 6-shooters too early. Hit the apron there, just about spun the thing out, Sam.
Somebody's going to be able to carry those pistols.
That is one of the coolest. That is one of the coolest trophies in sport. Of all the unique trophies, of course, the Borg Warner is the one that any race driver will tell you they want. But other racing trophies, you've got the pistols at Texas, the Stetson and the 6-shooters. I have never seen a man be more goofy and giddy than Scott Dixon when Eddie George handed in the 10-gallon hat and the Colts. I thought Dixon was going to start giggling like a schoolgirl. The other one that I absolutely love is the guitar, the Gibson Les Paul guitar at Nashville.
The one that Kyle Busch destroyed?
Well, he didn't destroy it. He tried, and he wasn't able to quite smash it successfully. But yes, that is one of the more unique trophies. The Dover Trophy, which is the monster, is cool. You got the grandfather clock at Martinsville, but the 10-gallon hat and the Colt 45s are definitely up there, Sam. Now the question is, would Greg rather have?
I think it's one of the neatest victory lane celebrations as well.
Now, would Greg rather have the cat? Would Greg rather have the 10-gallon hat or the twin Colts? That's the question.
I think he'd just like to have the checker flag tonight.
I mean, it's been a long one, that's for sure. And we've thankfully had a lot of green flag runs. 3 laps to go, Focused
This
in.
last run has been very eventful, and it's been clean and green for the majority of it.
No real
Kudos
battle.
to the drivers that have made. We have 12 cars still on the lead lap.
Yeah, and do want to point out there are no real battles on the racetrack. Troy Carricker is pulling up on Joshua Siegfried, and so we'll stick with this until the white flag. Everybody else is pretty spread out, Sam.
And we still have a couple of laps left, and Troy Carricker looks like he's going to be able to catch Joshua.
Siegfried, there he goes. He's
with the closing laps, Joshua could race him here, but he's going to let him go.
Yeah, there's a 6-lap difference in tires, and we've noted throughout the evening, and Troy Carricker blinks out, we've noted throughout the evening how much better Carricker has been on the long runs. Yeah, but Greg Evans, he flashes under Barney. He's going to grab the white flag. This is the final lap of the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series Texas 300. Greg Evans is leading in handsome fashion over Kendall Paul and Jason Heaney. He's going to go smoothly into turn number 3. He'll get that car off of turn 4, and now he's looking at Barney and the checkered flag. There it is. Greg Evans is going to come home your winner. Kendall Paul will be second. Jason Heaney is third. Nolan Milne is fourth. Here comes Dylan Godness. He drove that car all the way back up to fifth. Brian Wasserman sixth. There's Moquin in seventh. Troy Carricker is going to be eighth. Joshua Siegfried ninth. And then you're going to have to wait a minute for Ryan O'Donohue. He'll bring it home 10th. There's Eric Porter, Lee Campbell, and I believe that is everybody, Sam.
All the lead lap cars for sure.
Yes, it is, and we're going to go ahead and
Green picks it out and makes up another position. He finishes 16th after all of the events that he's been through tonight.
Yes.
Trevor Benz, unfortunately, late in this run, he gets disconnected from the server, and so because of those connection issues, now it relegates him to a 15th place finish.
Yes, it does. Greg Evans is going to be your winner. Kendall Paul second. We're going to have Jason Heaney bring it home in third. Nolan Milne, Dylan Godness. They'll round out your top 5. It's Brian Wasserman, Michael Moquin, Troy Carricker, Joshua Siegfried, and Ryan O'Donohue for the top 10. In 11th, Greg Quarter. 12th, Lee Campbell. Christian Light, 13th. Sean Merriman, 14th. Unfortunately, the mechanical for Trevor Benz, that's going to drop him back to 15th. Donald Green, he stayed out. He made up 6 spots. He stuck with it. Donald Green in 16th. Brian Sharp, 17th. Braden Langley, Caleb Jones, and Corey Crandall will round out the top 20. It's going to be Ted Craven, 21st. Mark Cofield, 22nd. Keith Graham, he'll be 23rd. Mark Owlett, 24th. Joseph Klein, 25th. Obviously, the broadcast booth did not race tonight. James Hodgson did not.
I still finished ahead of Hodgson.
Enjoy it, Sam. But that's
congratulations to Greg Evans for another race. I know that knowing Greg the way I know Greg, he probably will have some remorse about the contact with Joseph Klein, and so just wait and see what he has to say when he comes into the booth. But still a masterful job of racing tonight for Greg again. And there's some good runs by some good drivers. I was really impressed with Kendall Paul and how his strategy of a short pit really worked in his favor, and he was able to maintain speed in the long run there at the end of the race. Again, Jason Heaney gets my Attaboy award just for how he ran his race, the way he handled himself on starts and restarts. It was just a good event. Well, I enjoyed this race a lot.
I did too, and you can give your Attaboy award to Jason Heaney. I'm going to let Sam Crow handle the interviews tonight because I'm starting to lose my voice. So, Sam, you've got Jason Heaney in the P1 broadcasting booth. Jason, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Take it away, Sam.
Jason, great job tonight. I called your name several times. I was really impressed with your strategy. in the race tonight. I noticed that on the starts, at the start and the restarts, that you were very mindful about not overdriving the car through 1 and 2 and just letting some heat build up in the tires. Just give us a little insight about your race tonight and your great finish.
Well, I appreciate it, and you're spot on. I was really cautious on the starts. I had set my car up to be a little bit more on the loose side to help me in the longer run, so I could still attack the track if needed to as it tightened up. Because the first 2-3 laps on these tires, fresh tires, were just right on edge.
Yes.
I used practice to try to find the edge, and I spun out probably 10 or 12 times and then just rolled it back just a little bit. Said, okay, now I got my race. I know what I can do in the race, how much throttle to use, how much wheel, and just try to manage it and let the cars that wanted to go bye because I know I'd see them. The only one I knew I wouldn't see was going to be the 2 for sure. He was fast all night. And that's usual. I expect that. And same with Kendall. I saw him having a long run car in the timing and scoring, and I was like, when he pitted way early on that in that third stage,
Short pit, right?
And yeah, I was like, he's got the car for it, so he's not gonna fall back. He's not gonna burn his stuff up, and I knew I had to attack. So I tried to split it about down the middle and just tried to use all the tire I could out of those 2 sets. But I was really like praying for a caution with about 15 to go because I had an extra set in the pits. I was ready to set it on fire, and I think a couple other guys did too, so I wouldn't have been the only one. But I was ready to battle with some fresh ones at the end if needed. Just didn't fall that way. It was a good green flag run. That was a blast. I love some long green flag runs, and the car held up, and I used all the tire I could. I think both sets in that third stage, my right front tire was down to 39%, so I used all I could of them.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, there's no question that your strategy worked out for a podium finish tonight. I'm thrilled to see you have a good finish. Like I said, I was very impressed with the way that you ran your race. It was smart and methodical, and I'm always impressed with a driver that thinks his way through in those particular instances. But Jason, as usually the conditions are here in the booth is we'd like to give you the opportunity for any shout outs that you may have. So the floor is yours, my friend.
I appreciate that. First off, give a shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. It's great. I love watching it. You guys put on a heck of a show. Just not for this league, but the other series. I watch a lot of your stuff. It's fun to watch. I want to shout out to First Gear Racing, the team, the league, the group. We brought 8 cars to the race tonight, and we got a 3rd, a 4th, a 7th, and then we had some drivers with some issues tonight, so we finished kind of split in the field. But we were running good early. Joseph in the 7 was lightning fast in that first stage. It was a bummer to see him get wrecked. But I know he would have been there at the end too because he had a fast hot rod. But shout out to the team.
Had a great piece. Yeah.
Putting on a heck of a run and a heck of a race tonight for everybody. And bad luck's going to happen. So some of our guys will get it back here in a few weeks when we're back on the track. But shout out to them. The team shows up every week, puts on a heck of a show, and has fun doing it. We appreciate AMA for putting this together and giving us the opportunity to race as a team, because normally First Gear Racing is spending 5 nights a week racing each other. And so it's nice on one of the nights of the week we get to race as kind of a team and
collaborate.
Yeah, and it's a different atmosphere for us, so it's enjoyable. So thanks to the fans watching as well. We always appreciate everybody watching the racing that we're doing. My kids here watching. My kids watch on the internet. A lot of times they'll watch the race, the broadcast, or they'll sit here behind me and watch the screen and cheer me on. So shout out to them, and thank you guys again, and I appreciate y'all having me here.
Hey,
Jason, your kids have something to shout about tonight, so way to go, Dad.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I'm not gonna lie, mine was laying next to me, so I get it, man. But keep going fast, having fun, and we'll see you next week, my friend.
All right, take care, guys.
Yes, sir. That is going to be Jason Heaney. He is your 3rd place runner today. We'll go ahead and bring in the 2nd place man. That's going to be Kendall Paul. Kendall, you had an interesting day. At one point, I believe the fenders were bent on the 78, and then you got those fenders fixed. You came back up to the field. You used the short pit very effectively. I will let Sam interrogate you because my voice is starting to go south. But congratulations on the good run, my man.
Yeah.
Kendall, man, you get the strategy move of the race. You had some adventure, getting caught up in some drama early, and of course, then late in the race, you decide that you're going to be the one that dictates the pace and the decisions on that short pit. Give us a little insight about what was going on in your mind with all that strategy that you were playing out.
It was an up and down day for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I knew the car had a very good long run speed, and we were just running the track a lot different. It seemed like a lot differently than a lot of other guys, and I was even preaching it to the other guys on my team to do the same, and they started doing the same and started having a little bit of success with it as well. And so I had that in mind of long run speed for the car, and I was going through the top 10 there and got up to third, and I knew the car was started to slide it away from me and starting to fall away, but I was still gaining on him. And Ted was actually out of the race and was spotting me, and we had a discussion for a little bit to try to figure out the strategy. And instead of trying to burn up the tires and potentially hurting the car to try to pass the 99 there, we decided to short pit him. It was 45 laps to go. I thought we did that as a stage wise, and we'd do fine. And it worked out for the most part. It wasn't the race winning move, but definitely the move that got us second place.
Oh, no question. And the strategy played out perfectly, and you proved that you did have a car that had long run speed. It was just a great finish for you tonight, and once again proving the racer that you are. So it's a great job, Kendall. We're really glad to have you here in the booth, and it's our custom here at P1. We like to give drivers that finish on the podium an opportunity to give any shout outs that they may have. So, Kendall, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's definitely good to be back on the podium to give all these guys a shout out. Big shout out to Archway Industrial Coatings. They're the ones that make this all happen and make us have this awesome broadcast that you and Mark are providing us. So huge thanks to them. Thanks to Black Magic Studios and I already said Archway Admin Box, Track Racer, Rogue Energy, of course SKP Storm Tracker 78. Cannot thank myself.
Sure you can. Sure you can.
Your website, right? Go ahead and mention it.
Yeah, that you are fully entitled to thank yourself if you want to.
Got to get that out there. Get some more people following that page.
Just remember, Kendall, the owner that has him. Who's more foolish, the owner or the owner or the driver? If you're an owner driver, right?
Also got to thank all the Dark Horse Performance guys before I forget to thank them as well. But yeah, really good run for the 78. I'm really glad with the second place.
Cool deal. Well, keep going fast, having fun. Make sure you go find your car owner and ask that guy for a raise.
I'll try.
Cool deal. Well, thank you so much, Kendall, for stopping by, and keep going fast, having fun, my man. We will see you at the next one.
See you guys.
And that is going to bring in the man of the hour. It is Sam. I am beyond disbelief that we're talking to Mr. Greg Evans after an AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series event. The driver of the Deuce is with us. Greg, I'm losing my voice, so we're gonna let Sam handle the interview. But thank you so much for stopping in, Sam. Take it away.
Greg, congratulations on another masterful win. I've been watching your race for a long time, and of course, this race kind of played out to your strong points. But we can't get away from the elephant in the room. So before we talk about your win, just give us a little insight about the incident with Joseph Klein early in the race.
Yeah, I was talking to Mr. Hingy about that a while ago, right before you guys pulled me in, and I got a run better than I expected, and I think it might have surprised him a little bit too. And I pulled to the inside when I got there, and it looked like he turned left a little bit, and I was trying, not to just sweep in there. I was trying to stay on his door and try to get that draft getting into 3, and yeah, we just touched. I tried to apologize and told a 9 if he would, just reiterate it to him and let him know I did it wasn't anything intentionally by any means. You never want to wreck racing for the lead, especially 45 laps into a 200 lap race. That wasn't my intention, and I'm sure it wasn't his. But hopefully he understands and knows it wasn't anything intentionally there.
So, well, that kind of takes care of that shop talk a little bit. But just give us a little insight about your race and how you felt about of course, I know you're happy with the outcome, but just give us a little insight about your strategy to stay out so long and then have that fast 30 lap run there at the end.
Yeah, I that last run didn't really know when to pit. I was watching my lap times. I was losing about a 2.5 seconds per lap for what my fastest lap was. So I think the 9 or somebody pitted, whoever's running second. They were about 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds back. So I knew if I wanted to try to match them, I would have to pit with like 2 laps after they pitted. But I really felt like with the green flag runs and the way it was, I kind of had that mindset of what I did at Homestead and just kind of stayed out and just hope for the best. If we had got a caution right before I pitted, it'd been perfect. If we'd have got a caution after I pitted, I'd have been in real bad trouble. So it's just, you try to...
It's a gamble. Yeah, it's a gamble.
Oh, it is. Yeah, and I've always kind of leaned more towards, running the fuel and the tires mostly out as much as you can within reason. But it's hard to know, what that perfect point is or that sweet spot is.
Well, the sweet spot is the deuce going across the start finish line after 200 laps and getting the checkered flag. So, Greg, you had a great run, and we're certainly always glad to have you in the booth. But as always, our custom here at P1, we like to give those in that either win or on the podium a chance to give their shout outs. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for broadcasting and being here every week. I know you guys do Thursdays and Fridays, so taking time away from your guys' family to come in here and make it special for us, and AMA for what they do, hosting the league, Sim Magic, Sim Shop, Sim Labs, a lot of Sims. Feels like on my card. Yeah, tonight was a experiment. I got a new wheelbase a little bit sooner than I expected, and I was kind of going in between that. I wanted to just keep running my old Sim Magic base or switch to the new one tonight and take a chance. And it was a different feeling there for the first half of practice. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So just big shout out to Sim Magic. Just got a few more bugs to work out on some of the settings and stuff, but can't complain about a first place finish for sure.
Yeah. Well, apparently you broke it in well.
Yeah, win right out of the box. There's no shame in that, Greg. Thank you so much for dropping in. Congratulations on the win. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one, and I think we've got 2 weeks off, guys. So,
we do. That's me not reading the schedule that's popped up on the screen to my right.
I hadn't told my wife yet. But I do think I got it worked out, and we'll see what happens. But next week, since we're not racing on Thursday nights, and I only get to race one night a week, by the way, I might be dabbling in the IndyCar Monday or Tuesday night at ISRA. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, we don't know if Mike Rigby's still in chat or not, but if you heard that or Wags was actually in chat earlier, and there's no one begging for you to go run IndyCar more than Wags is.
I had to pop the chat up just to see that, but we'll be glad to see you on Monday nights in an open wheel missile, Mr. Evans. But until then, keep going fast and having fun. We'll see it. We'll catch you. We'll catch you at the next one. You hear?
Congratulations, Greg.
Sounds good, guys. Y'all have a good couple weeks off.
You too.
Absolutely. And Sam, another really not the highlight reel finish, not one that's going to make the Sports Center top 10, but a doggone good, interesting race nonetheless.
Right. Well, I agree. I think there was good balance in this race. There were some interesting things. Of course, cautions seemed to get people's interest peaked a lot of times, and there's a good balance of hard racing up front, middle pack. Then, of course, a long green flag run at the end, and then some pit strategy, green flag pit stops came into play, and pit strategy came into play. So there was a little bit of everything when it comes to oval track racing tonight, and I enjoyed it.
I most certainly did too. It is the end of a 12-in-a-row stretch for us, Sam. May 8th, May 15th, we're going to get Tuesday nights off, or Thursday nights off. The next race here on the P1 Broadcasting Network is the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. That is tomorrow night. Sam and I will be here at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. Gary Godso is going to be over on the Velocity Online Racing channel on Friday and Saturday. The VOR finale from California, and that's going to be a ton of fun. 500 miles. That happens on Saturday. Sunday night, the Open Wheelers return to the channel with the Dark Horse CW12 Series presented by the Joy of Driving. That's from Kansas. I'm looking forward to that one, Sam. Monday night, Clindy and I are going to have and that's at 8 o'clock, by the way. Monday night, the IndyCar Series Monday night top split. That's going to happen from the Indy Road Course. And Sam, it's the month of May, so you know us IndyCar guys, we're going to be at Indianapolis all May long. So that kicks off Monday night with Clindy and I at 8. Followed by Gary and the gang in 9:35. The SRA Open Wheel Series, Mike Rigney's group. We're gonna head to Kentucky, Legacy, Kentucky, the old bumpy version of Kentucky. Sam, Tuesday.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, Tuesday, the flagship. That is the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday night top split, and that is from Indianapolis. Speaking of Indianapolis, we're gonna be there Wednesday night for the Horizon IndyCar Series with the finale of their inaugural season. That is the Horizon IndyCar Series. Ryan Eric King and I will have that one at 8 o'clock. Thursday night, we will not have a broadcast here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. And that is because this series is off. That is going to be a P1 presentation on the Elite Racing Network. 500 miles from Indianapolis. Gary Godso will be on the call. Usually there are some special guests involved in that broadcast, and so we do invite everybody to tune in with our friends over at the Elite Racing Network for that one. You'll see 33 of iRacing's best take on 500 miles at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For Mark Murphy, our founder Gary Godso, my booth mate Sam Crow, we do want to thank all of the people that make this possible, especially the first responders, the military, the police, the firemen, the nurses that man the emergency room at night, all the people who do the things that let us lay our heads on the pillow in peace and sleep. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. Sam, we get a 21-hour break, brother.
Let's go.
I will see you tomorrow night. Take the belts off, my man. Get your
Absolutely.
Rolex.
I'm getting out of the seat. You too.
Yes, sir. We'll see you all tomorrow night.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Take care.